This video has an insane amount of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration, perfect for summer. Let's get started. It's no secret that I love crafting with mason jars, and I always run to Dollar Tree to grab them because they have small size and large ones for $1.25. Great deal. We're going to start with one of their smaller ones. We're going to remove the little tag from the bottom. We're going to remove the cap because we're not going to need it, and then we're going to wipe it really well. Sometimes they get really dusty sitting on the shelves. We're going to paint this one white, and I am using Waverly chalk paint in the white. I'm going to give it 2 coats and let it dry. I'm going to grab one of these Dollar Tree tags. They are meant to be able to write with a chalk. I'm going to grab one of them, and I'm going to make a smaller version of it. It was just a little too big for the mason jar we're using. So I'm just going to keep the same tag look, just cut it. And then we're going to take this marker. This is a paint marker. It has a thin and a thick point. I'm going to use the thin one, and then we are going to just create a stitch-like design all around the edge. I do have these markers in my Amazon store. If you want to check them out, they are linked in the description box. So I'm going to do that stitch look all the way around, and then we're going to head on to the sticker aisle. Dollar Tree has an entire aisle dedicated to stickers, and I love all the selection. I am going to take these beautiful farmhouse style ones. We are going to remove the one that has this beautiful hope design, and it fits right inside in the middle of the tag perfectly. It already has a little sticky in the back, but you can use hot glue if you want to. I'm going to remove the little string that is already on there. Now we're going to replace it with some jute string. At first, I thought I would just thread it through, but then I changed my mind because we're going to create a little bow, just simple bow, using the same string. We're going to cut off the excess, and we're going to hot glue it to the front. So instead of threading the jute string through the little hole, we're just going to hot glue it to the back, and that way everything looks nice and even. I'm going to leave that to the side for just a quick second. I'm going to bring in the dried mason jar. We're just going to dry brush a few stripes here and there just to create a distressed look. This is using the Waverly chalk paint in the elephant tone, just like a dark gray. Look how cute that looks. Just very natural. I'm going to take more of that jute string. We're just going to wrap it around the top of the lid portion, and we're just going to do it several times and then secure it in place with hot glue. Once that's in place, then we're going to place the tag around that same section, tied in the back with a knot, removing excess, and then adding a little bit of hot glue to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. We're going to keep this one simple. We're just going to add a beautiful yellow peony right inside, and I love the way this one turned out. Such a farmhouse style. I love that style. It's just so fresh. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another small mason jar, and then we're going to remove the lid and the sticky portion from the bottom. This one was not coming off as smooth, so I did have to use my heating tool, and it comes off really easy when you do that. Once that was off, we're just going to wipe it really well to remove any smudges and dust. This one, we're going to use some Artisa yellow paint because I didn't have any other paint. And let me tell you, using acrylic paint versus chalk paint just makes me realize why I love chalk paint. The coverage is so much better. But nonetheless, this is what I had on hand. So we're going to do 3 coats. This is the first coat, and I'm going to show you all 3 coats so you kind of see the difference it makes. We're going to create almost as if the paint is dripping off of the top. So we're just going to wiggle it around and just do whatever feels right. This is the second coat, and you can see it starts to look better, but it's still not good enough. So we will do a 3rd coat, and that really does the work. Now, you don't have to do this. You can do it in any color you want. I thought yellow would look really well because we're going to make this a bee theme jar. Here's that 3rd coat, and that really does good. It could have probably done a 4th coat, but I was done. I was done with that 3rd coat. So we're just going to finish this one and put that to the side. And this is what it's looking like. Look how cute. All right, so now Dollar Tree has these little animal insects, I guess. They're like little stickers. And I'm just going to grab 4 of the bees, remove the little paper from the back, and we're just going to stick them. We're going to stick them here and there in the front of the jar, but you can do it anywhere you want. I did end up adding a fifth one in the greenery that we're going to add in just a little bit. This last one was not sticking too well with the glass and not the paint, so we're just going to add a little dab of hot glue, and it did the work. We're going to add some greenery, keep it simple, and this is where I decided to add one more bee right there that is joining the team. But look how gorgeous this is. I absolutely love the way this one turned out, but I'd love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another small jar. I love these small ones. Remove the lid and the paper, wipe it well once again. And this one we are going to paint again, but we're going to do a different technique. We're going to use two paints. We're going to use this Waverly chalk paint in the moss tone and the white one. We're going to create an ombre look, so we're going to go from dark at the bottom and lighten it up until almost white at the top. Now, I'm not an expert at blending, okay? I've never ever claimed that because I am not. And you're going to see at the end it's not perfect, but we got to try new things and we have to just try it until we do our best. So anyways, we're going to just keep adding. And then as I move upwards towards the top of the jar, I'm just going to keep adding white paint until it lightens up. So there's a first coat. Not too bad, but it could be better for sure. So we're going to do a second coat doing the same exact thing, starting with the dark one and moving my way up with the lighter tones. Once it was fully dry, we're going to add these beautiful sticker butterflies. I love, love, love the way this one turned out. These butterflies have a golden tone. We're going to start with the larger one at the bottom, add a couple of the medium-sized ones, and then a small one at the top. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. All right, so this is what it's looking like. Now, I wanted to add something in the top portion, so we're just going to add this lacy ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hot glue it in place and just add one layer. That's it, just to add a little bit of texture and character there to the top. Once it's hot glued, I'm just going to cut off the excess, of course. And then again, for this one, we're going to keep it quite simple. I am going to add some pink flowers because the butterflies do have kind of like a pink tone in there. I'm just going to add these and then some greenery. Again, keeping it simple, but highlighting the details from the entire design. And I got to tell you, this one is absolutely stunning. It's so simple, so feminine. Love the butterflies, and I love that we can use them, again, for another project. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. And we are going to start creating some beautiful crafts with them. Now, they come in two different tones, a darker and a lighter tone, and you're going to see me using both of them, sometimes even a mix of them. I'm going to put them in a basket and we're going to start building. We're going to create a frame. Now I'm going to use my ruler square to keep me nice and straight, especially in the corners. And you're going to see how I use that. I'm going to alternate the tones from lighter to darker. I just thought it added nice character. And I really love the way they look together. So here it is. We're just in the corner. I'm just going to use that corner of the square and it worked really well. I'm going to make a rectangle and then I'm going to create a second one around the original rectangle to create a thicker frame and also give it more texture and more of a design. When I got to the corner of the outside frame, I did have to cut a little bit, so I'm just going to mark and then use my miter shears to cut the block. Now it cut perfectly, and I'm just going to attach it with hot glue. I do have these miter shears in my Amazon store, and it is linked down below in the description box. I did use the shears a couple of extra times here in this project, as well as some other ones. So I'm just going to attach this last piece here, and look how gorgeous this is looking. I'm going to lightly sand the surface. This is just to smooth things out. Some of the hot glue oozes out, and you just want to remove that and making sure that it's as clean as possible. I'm going to take a piece of this foam from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue it on the left bottom corner of the frame we're going to create kind of like a decorative frame slash wreath, and we're going to add some greenery. This is greenery that I had on hand, but you can use any greenery from Dollar Tree that you want, or even florals. I'm going to add some going towards the top and then some going sideways at the bottom. Again, you can do whatever you want. You can also add more greenery on the upper right hand corner, and that would be very pretty as well. To cover up the foam, we're just going to add some of this leftover ribbon from Dollar Tree. It's a burlap style, very neutral. We're going to wrap it around, secure it in place with hot glue, and then we're going to add a little pop of color with a beautiful yellow flower from Dollar Tree. We are going to poke a hole because this burlap and then the foam just made it a little hard. So poke a hole, add glue, and then add the flower. I'm going to add a couple of these greenery leaves that I had left over from other picks just to add a pop of color and a different color shade of green. Love, love, love the way this frame turned out. You can paint this frame. You can do whatever you want. The possibilities are endless. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with one of these wood slices. I get these on Amazon, but you can find them at different stores, Walmart, wherever you want. I have not seen them at Dollar Tree, at least mine. All right, we're going to start with some of the lighter tone color ones, and we're going to start hot gluing them on top of the wood slice all the way around. When you're picking out a wood slice, just make sure that it's as close to a perfect circle as possible, although it's going to be kind of hard, but just do the best you can. So I'm just going to hot glue them on top as close to each other as possible. Now, I think it looked beautiful in the natural wood tones, but I am going to paint the outside of the blocks. Now, looking back, I would have painted them before I hot glued them because we're just doing the outside of it and the very top. But it's okay, you live and learn. So I'm just going to give it one kind of sloppy coat. I do want it to look a little bit distressed on the outside of each block. I did do the top as well, and we're just going to wrap around some jute string around and around several times once it was dry. Then we're going to make a very simple bow. We're going to keep it simple, but you can use a knot, you can use whatever you want. Now, I am going to cut off the excess string, and then I decided to add some greenery because you know I love my greenery. This faux boxwood is from Amazon, and I do have it on my Amazon store. I'm going to cut off the bottom stem that it has, and then just hot glue several of them, 3 to be exact. This is just going to add nice character and texture and a pop of color. You can also add florals if you want. Now, I decided to add a candle inside. Now, this one is a real candle. I ended up not placing this one because I thought this could be a fire hazard. So I'm just going to add one of my battery-operated ones from Amazon. And look how gorgeous this looks. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to make a fun craft. We are going to take 5 of the darker tone ones and just hot glue them together in a nice long stick form. That's it. And then we're going to do 4 of these. We're going to create a lantern. Now, I saw one on Pinterest and I was so inspired, and I thought I can totally make that maybe a little bit more different, but I think it turned out so gorgeous. So we're going to make 4 of these first, and then we're going to create a base as well as a top for the lantern. So this is what they look like. Now we're going to take 4 of the darker tones, create 2 shapes of an L, and then hot glue them together. I'm going to create 4 of these because we are making 2 lanterns. Once I have the base and the top nicely glued together, we are going to attach the long parts, 1 to each corner, just like you see me doing here. Now take your time and make sure you hold it for a few seconds until it hardens, and then add the top portion. And this is what it's looking like. How cute is this? We're going to do the same exact thing, except we're going to make it a little shorter. Instead of 5 blocks, we're going to use 4 blocks for this one. Make 4 of them. Same thing. Just add it to the base and add to the top, and then make sure that everything's securely in place. just like that. And now we have two cute lanterns that look exactly the same except one is shorter than the other. Now I do want to add some of these felt pads to the bottom. That way it's not going to scratch any surface. And I think it adds a little bit of stability. So I added one in each corner just like that. These are the battery operated faux candles I do have on my Amazon store. I am going to place some batteries and look how cute this is. It comes with a little remote control and you turn them on and they actually glow pretty bright. I'm going to place a taller one in the tall lantern and a shorter one in the shorter lantern, and look how gorgeous this looks. Again, you can paint these in whatever color you want, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are making coasters. Now, I'm only going to make 2 of them, but you can make as many as you need. I'm going to hot glue 2 of the pieces together long ways and then add one in the middle like you see me here. Then we're going to cut a couple of pieces just to add some character. I thought you can just glue them together one next to each other, but I thought let me add a little bit of a design. So I decided to add kind of like that block design. So this is what it looks like. We are going to make 2 of these and we're going to sand them down again to remove any excess glue. Dust them really, really well to make sure no dust is left behind. And then we're going to take this beautifully designed napkin from Dollar Tree. We're going to remove all the extra plies and just leave the one with the design. I'm going to cut a couple of pieces just so that we have enough to cover each coaster. Again, you can make more if you want. This little glue dispenser is called a glue bot and it's from Amazon. I love it. I added my Mod Podge here and you push on it, it really comes up. You can place a little cap right there to hold it and you just want to push and pour whatever you want. I really love using this for wood glue and I thought I'd get one for my Mod Podge. I'm just going to brush it into a thin layer just until it kind of disappears on me, and then we're going to place the napkin right on top. Now this one we really want to push down with your hands because we want to be able to get that shape and all that texture from the wood blocks. I did the same thing on the second one, and then I do have a fan right next to my workbench and I just place them there and they dry in no time. So before I knew it, they were nicely dried and this is what they look like. We are going to sand down the edges. It's so much easier than using an X-Acto knife. I'm going to sand down in a downward motion, removing the excess napkin. I did the same thing on both of them. And then I'm going to add one layer of Mod Podge. This is the dishwasher safe and it has more of a glossy finish. This will be perfect because that way if any glass is going to sweat a little bit and be moistured, then that way it's going to be protected. So I'm just going to add again one very thin layer right on top of each coaster, as well as the sides and the bottom, just to make sure it's nicely sealed. Again, I put that down by the fan and let it dry for a few minutes, and I think they turn out gorgeous. I love the design, but you know what I love the most? That texture that you can still see the blocks and the design from the bottom. Let me know what you think of this one. Dollar Tree DIY craft. We're going to start with this piece of scrap wood. It was in my garage. I cut it to about maybe 13 inches, something like that. It is a little rough. It has nails sticking out. I think it used to be a shelf. I don't know. I pounded with my hammer those nail tips, and then we're going to sand down smooth the entire board. Now, I do want to add a little bit of paint on those edges just to make it look a little bit more finished. So I did add Waverly chalk paint in the white, and of course, I let it dry. We're going to use this reusable stencil from Essential Stencil, and these are one of my favorite stenciling brushes. Love, love, love them. I get them on Amazon, and yes, they are on my Amazon store. I'm going to use Waverly chalk paint in the ink, dip it in the paint, remove any excess, and then just do the round and around motion. I'm not even pressing on my brush, okay? I'm just letting it glide until it's completely stenciled. Look how gorgeous. All right, we're going to take different color vinyl from Dollar Tree, and we are just going to cut the shapes of some vases, some flower pots. Now, don't worry about the shape. Just do whatever shape you want and whatever color you want. I'm going to do blue, pink, and yellow. And we're just going to kind of dry fit them first. And then we're just going to place them just like stickers. Because there's a lot of color in the vinyl, we're just going to keep the greenery green. We're just going to hot glue them in place and add as needed so it looks nice and flush and just very 3D. So I wanted to line the pods with a marker now. I have this thin tip marker. It was not thick enough. It was just too thin. So I stopped, and then we're going to grab the larger tip and we're just going to trace them. You don't have to do this. You can keep it as is, but I just thought it needed a little trim. So we're just going to line the vinyl of each flower pot. Now you can add rope, you can add ribbon, you can add whatever you want to hang it. Now it is thick enough wood that you can just stand it up, and I just left it like this. How adorable is this? Everything on a budget, either from Dollar Tree or just simply a board I had at home. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this piece of scrap 2x4. It was in our garage. Again, we have a lot of wood. I'm just going to use it and sand it smooth, remove any dust. And now we're going to bring in some yellow paint. This is Artisa paint. And we're going to give it one coat all the way around except at the way bottom, because this is going to be a tiny little block sign. Now we're going to use some vinyl from Dollar Tree. This is in the black. We are going to use the Cricut here, okay? But you can do the exact same thing we did with the carbon paper. But I really wanted to try. I wanted to try how the vinyl from Dollar Tree would stand up to a cutting machine. So I grabbed this design actually from Cricut Design Space. It's of a bee. I connected my Cricut Joy Extra, and I am going to put the pressure on less. That's the key, okay? Don't keep it at default. Don't put it at more. Just keep it at less pressure. Now we're just going to place it, and we're going to let the machine do its thing. Again, if you do not have a cutting machine, it's fine. Do the carbon paper. All right, so we're going to remove it, and this is the first time that I see that the machine did not go through the paper. I have used Dollar Tree vinyl on my Cricuts, and they go through. This one did not. I was pleasantly pleased. All right, the paint is dry. We're going to just dress it just a little bit using my electric sander, and then we are going to place some clear vinyl right over the bee and transfer it onto the piece of board. Again, I just want to see how this vinyl really does with all of these materials. We're going to attach it to the clear vinyl. It did great. We're going to attach it to the piece of wood. At first I thought, okay, is it going to stick? Is it not? Is it going to be pulled when I pull the clear vinyl? It didn't. It did really well. I'm very happy. All right, we're going to place one of these felt pads underneath so it doesn't scratch any surface. And we're going to cut it into 4 pieces and add one tiny piece in each corner. That way it's going to be nice and protected and safe for all surfaces. And I got to tell you, very happy with how the vinyl did with the Cricut cutting machine. And again, if you don't have one, that's okay. There's plenty of things you can do without a cutting machine. But for those of us that do have it, this is a great alternative. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take, yes, another piece of scrap wood. This one is part of my garage stash. Again, we're just going to sand it smooth. I think this one was part of another sign. I don't know. All right, so we're going to dust it well. And then I did print out this tulip and the Hello Spring right on it. Now, we did end up not using the spring portion, but you'll see here what we did in just a little bit. We're going to take some green vinyl from Dollar Tree, and we're going to trace the bottom portion, so just the stem and the leaves of the tulip, and we're going to do 6 of them. Once I have them traced with the carbon paper, we are just going to cut them. And then we're going to do the same exact thing with the top portion of the tulip, but we're going to do 1 flower in each color block. These are just different colors of vinyl. And then again, we're just going to cut them. We're going to create tiny little stickers. We're going to put everything together. All right, so here we are. We are going to place them on the board. So the first thing we want to do is we want to place the stem and the leaves and just kind of dry fit them first. So don't press them. And then just kind of make sure that they're nicely even, and then press them when you have them all set. And then once the leaves and the stem were nicely placed, then we're going to place the actual tulips, and then just place them in a pattern, a color that really is appealing and that complement each other. All right, everything's coming together very nicely. Now, this is the hello that I printed. We're just going to tape it to the top. And again, we're going to use the carbon paper underneath it, trace it, and then we're going to use permanent marker to go over it. Now, again, if you have a cutting machine, you can do all of this with your cutting machine. But if you do not, this is a great alternative. I'm going to use this marker that I do have on my Amazon store. And I did have to do it twice, so it was really dark enough. And then I decided to elongate those ends all the way to the edges. Now we're going to use these stickers instead of the ones that I printed. And these are just going to be spelling spring, right? One letter on each tulip. I saw an inspiration on Pinterest and I thought, what a great one that I can recreate using Dollar Tree vinyl. And how fun. It's like putting together a puzzle. And then we're just going to place that last G right there. All right, I am going to drill a couple of holes on the top of the board, about 2 inches from each side. And then we're going to grab 2 of these hooks that I do get on Amazon and place one on each side. You just basically just screw them in. We're going to add white nautical rope from Dollar Tree and knot them, leaving enough to be able to hang this one. You can also stand it up. It's okay. But I think it turned out absolutely stunning. I love those tulips. I love the colors. You can't really see the white tulip, but it works. What do you think? I already had several of them at home and I also got a couple new ones. We're going to start with this beautiful striped as pink and teal and white, and it's just gorgeous. I'm also going to take this leftover roll, you know what I'm talking about, like from either a vinyl or wrapping paper. We're going to make an umbrella wreath. Now, I just want to kind of dry fit it first to know how much I want to cut off. And then using a serrated knife, very carefully, I'm just going to cut it off. I'm going to take some aluminum foil and we're just going to create that little curved portion of the umbrella. So it's going to look like a little mini cane. So I'm just going to keep adding foil as needed until I have the shape that I want. I'm also going to secure it using some masking tape. I had it in the shape that I wanted. I covered the entire thing with masking tape and then covered it with some nautical rope from Dollar Tree. You can find these year round. And I'm just going to keep rolling it around and securing it in place with hot glue as needed until the entire top portion is covered where I don't see the masking tape anymore. And this is what it should kind of look like. All right, so now we are going to take the burlap fabric and we're just going to wrap it around, creating what will kind of look like a umbrella. So we are going to tie it with some jute string. However, we're not going to tighten it very tight because I do want to put some florals in there. So just snug it up, but don't tie it very tight. I'm going to start grabbing some of these greeneries. These are just some I had on hand from Dollar Tree as well as Walmart. We're just going to start adding a little bit of hot glue and start placing them here and there so they kind of pour towards the top of the umbrella. I decided to add these pop of beautiful color flowers. Oh my goodness, are they beautiful? They're from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to start adding them again here and there. This flower bead garland is from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to remove the actual flower from it. But I'm going to keep the beads because I do want to create some sort of something around that center where we had the jute string. So I'm going to remove some of the beads as needed, creating a nice space in between the beads so that it's bare and it can wrap around the center. We're just going to kind of hang it and just kind of tie it as needed. And then that way it's just going to add a little bit of texture and character. And then we're going to add a little pink flower right there in the center just to finish things off. And I got to tell you, this one's definitely one of my favorites. What a gorgeous wreath to display in your front door. Love, love, love the way it turned out. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these little wood round kind of frame pieces. You can find these year-round in different shapes and sizes, and this round one is gorgeous. There's actually not much to be done to it. Now I did decide to brighten up the border. You don't have to, trust me, it's beautiful as is. I just wanted it to be a little bit brighter, so I'm just going to take Waverly Chalkman in the white and a small brush and just kind of give it one coat here and there to brighten things up. I did sand down a couple of places where I just kind of dipped the paint a little too far in. All right, so now we're going to take this beautiful polka dot, similar to the first one, but this one has pink and white polka dot burlap fabric, and we're just going to iron it out just a little bit to remove some of the wrinkles and some of those curves and curls because it does come very, very curled. We're going to cut off a piece that's going to fit half of the wood round. I'm going to use my finger protector because if you work with burlap, you know that it will seep through when you're using hot glue. So we're just going to start attaching it all the way around half of the wood round. And this is already looking so cute. So now we're going to flip it over and we're just going to cut it as close as possible to the edge using my scissors, but you can also use an X-Acto knife if you'd like. All right, so now we're created a pocket, and now you can do all kinds of things with this. You can leave it as is and add florals in the pocket. I wanted to have it more as a kind of letter and note holder. So I'm going to add some of this greenery on top, attaching it with hot glue, and a cute little pop of pink flowers from Dollar Tree right there in the center, just to kind of bring everything together. Now I'm going to use some of these Dollar Tree thumbtacks. You can find this in the office aisle, and we're just going to add a few, one on each side. And the way I do it so that they're nicely even, I'm going to add one on each upper side, and then I'm going to add one directly in the bottom, the center portion, and then one in each center of each side. That way they're going to be as close as possible to evenly spaced. This is coming together nicely. I had this piece of scrap paper left over. I'm just going to wiggle it around, and I'm just going to write a little cute note for my daughter. Have a beautiful day, Mom. And we're just going to place it right there. This could be a little communication space where you can just place notes back and forth. You can put photos, whatever you want. Love, love, love the way this one turned out. I love these wood rounds. What do you think? I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start by printing off the shape of a butterfly. I printed it in the size of about 4 inches, just so that you know. This is a book with craft paper. I'm going to choose a design that I think is going to look great for what I'm envisioning with this. And then I'm going to cut off the excess paper around the butterfly. I'm going to place the butterfly exactly where I want it, depending on the design of the paper. Put some carbon paper in between and just trace it with a tracing tool. Once it's traced, we're just going to cut it. As simple as that. We're just going to cut it all the way around. So let me explain what we're doing. I want to create a butterfly. This is going to be a 3D, very textured, very layered butterfly. I'm also going to go and use my laminating sheet. This is a leftover piece in my laminator, and we are going to just create a see-through clear plastic. It was leftover, why not? I'm going to trace it onto the clear plastic once again, and then just cut. Now, the goal here is to have 3 layers, okay? We're going to have a layer of the craft paper, a layer of the clear plastic that I'm cutting now, and a layer of the burlap fabric. Now, I am going to wipe off the mark from the carbon, and it wiped really well. On the leftover piece of plastic, we are going to spray adhesive with this Gorilla spray, which I do have in my Amazon store. And I'm going to place the fabric right on top and then trace a butterfly on the back side. So on the side that is plastic. And again, we're just going to cut. Now, I did have to trim several of the butterflies because I want the top butterfly to be smaller, and then the next one a little bigger, and then the last one a lot bigger. So this is kind of what it's looking like. It's just so that you have a visual of what I'm seeing. All right, so we're going to put everything together, and because I want it to have a 3D look, I do want to fold the wings just a little bit towards the front. That way, they're going to flip over just a little bit and add that nice 3D look. We're going to hot glue one butterfly on top of each other, and then the last one's going to be the craft paper one. And look how cute that's looking. In the crafting aisle at Dollar Tree, you can find these wood beads, and they are in the shape of like maybe an oval. They're really unique. I'm going to take a pink one. I'm just going to hot glue it right there in the center. Now we're going to take some buttons, and we're just going to hot glue several in different shades that really complement the entire design. And just hot glue them here and there. This was inspired by one I saw on Pinterest, and I just thought I have to recreate one and make it a spring one. All right, so now finally we're going to take a clothespin from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to hot glue the butterfly right there, right on the top. Now we can attach this butterfly to any floor arrangement, anywhere in your home. How fun is this? Love the texture, love the layers, and I love that you can also even put a magnet behind it and use it on your refrigerator. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take a wooden slide, 2 wooden slices actually, a medium size and a small one, as well as yellow paint and black paint. We're going to paint the larger wood slides in this beautiful yellow because we are going to stay in the animal theme, in the insect theme. And we're going to create a cute bead decorative piece. So we're just going to paint it and give it one coat. I really like that it's a little bit see-through. Really love that. All right, so for the smaller one, we're going to take this beautiful bee burlap fabric roll from Dollar Tree. We're going to cut off a piece and we are going to adhesive spray it onto the wood slice. So we're just going to spray it, let it kind of get tacky a little bit and place it right there, making sure that the bee design is right in the center. We're going to cut off the excess, again using my scissors, and then we are going to drill a couple of holes. So we are going to use my permanent marker and we're just going to mark where I want to drill, and I'm just going to drill the holes right on top. We're creating little antennas, and we're also going to create places where we can put legs. Now I'm using pipe cleaners so that way we can curl them and use them as needed. So I'm going to drill and then I'm going to add a dab of glue, and then we're going to add the antennas first and then the legs. I did decide to trim off just a little bit. They seem a little long. Now for the antennas, we're going to curl it just a little bit using one of my paintbrushes, and I just thought it's so cute. And then we're going to sort of kind of bend the legs. Now the yellow paint is now dry, so we're going to create black stripes, and we're going to give it a little bit of a curve. We're just going to use Waverly chalk paint in the ink tone, and we're going to make 3 stripes. While that is drying, we are going to take even more leftover plastic from the laminating sheet, and we're going to create wings for our bee. I'm just going to freehand what I think wings will look like, and I'm using my permanent marker. Once I have it cut, I'm just going to cut it around, and then we're going to use that first one to trace for a second one. That way they're going to be very similar in size and shape. Once they are cut, I do want to create just a darker edge. So we are going to line the second one as well as darken the first one. And then we're going to add some details in the center of each. Again, do whatever you want. We're going to attach it to the bee. Now, I did decide later on, and I'll show you, to move them down just a bit, but just to show you the process. So we're going to hot glue them right there to the back. I'm going to make a couple, or actually 4, marks on the larger wood round, and we're just going to drill holes again to add more legs. Now that the legs are attached, we just kind of bend them down however you want, trim as needed, and we're going to join both pieces together using a popsicle stick and hot glue. That's all you need. And then this is when I decided to remove the wings and just add them just a little bit lower. They just looked a little too high, and that way it's going to look nice and beautiful. All right, so now we're going to drill a hole on the top because I want this to kind of work as an ornament and just something that you can just hang it anywhere because bees do fly. I added some black jute string and I think it's so stinking cute. I love, love, love the way this one turned out. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. They have beautiful designs, getting ready for spring and summer, and how fun are these? Now we're going to start with this foam ball. You can find these at Dollar Tree in different sizes. This is one of the larger ones. We're just going to also use one of these balloon sticks. These are the kind where you can put a balloon and then stick them on the ground or in a vase. I'm going to cut some of it. I'm just going to leave about a 10-inch piece, and then we're just going to put it right inside the foam ball. We're going to secure it with some hot glue, let it harden for a little bit, and then we're going to cover it with some moss. We're going to create a topiary, and I think you're going to love, love, love the way this one turned out. Be very careful. The foam does melt quite rapidly with the hot glue, and it gets hot. Let me tell you. So anyways, just cover it up really carefully. Use a silicone finger protector like I have if you want. All right, so once everything is covered, it's looking like a little cute little guy, huh? With hair on top. All right, so we're just going to make sure that everything's nice and compact. And then we're going to add florals. Of course, we want this to be a topiary. Remove any excess moss. And then I like to push the leaves on my flowers all the way to the top. That way it's going to get the most of it and it just fill in that topiary. So we're going to cut off all of the flowers, leaving about 1 inch from the top. And we're going to add hot glue and then just start placing them. Now I start placing them here and there, kind of like evenly separated just to create a pattern. But don't worry about that. Just put them wherever you want. I wanted to add more color, so I did add this pink ones, also from Dollar Tree, and they are gorgeous. They complement the yellowish, greenish ones beautifully. I'm just going to fill in some of those bare spots wherever I see them, and you can add whatever else you want. This little glass jar is actually from Target Dollar Spot. I got years ago. I still had it laying around, so I'm going to use it for this. I'm going to cut off a foam that's going to fit right inside, but not fall through. So it's going to be really snug. Once I had a size that will fit, I'm also going to add a little bit hot glue in the rim and then just push it in. I'm going to push it with my fingers, and then I did have to kind of like pound it a little bit with my wire cutter just to get it in there. All right, so now we are going to place the entire piece right inside very carefully so it doesn't push it through. But then once inside, I am going to secure it with hot glue. To cover up the foam, I am going to add some of these leftover leaves and other picks that I had, and that way it's going to be nice and flush. All right, so these stickers are gorgeous. They're 3D butterfly design, and let me tell you, they're beautiful. I'm going to add this one that complements the entire design beautifully right in there with some hot glue, and look how gorgeous this looks. Definitely one of my favorites, which is probably why I put it first. Love the colors, but what do you think? Let me know it down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take one of these hanging shelves from Dollar Tree. Now, these are the large ones. I am going to use 2 of the smaller ones. They come together in a pack. Remove everything from it, including the rope and the rings. They are a little bare and a little rough to the touch, so we are going to sand them down just a little bit to remove the splinters. Once we have that, then we have to wipe them really, really well. I do want to stain them, and you can use any stain. You can also paint it if you want. This is just a style that I decided. So I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint antique wax, and I'm going to stain it, and I spilled it, my friends. Ugh. So of course we're not going to let it go to waste. So you know what I did? I just grabbed it straight from the cutting mat. And we're going to reuse it. Why not? All right, so I'm just going to stain it, and it just takes a few minutes to dry. I put it under a fan, and it works marvelously. Again, use whatever color stain or whatever paint you want. Once they were dry, we're going to sand them very softly once again to smooth them out, and once again wipe them so that every dust is removed from it. Now I want to create kind of like a barrel shape. I don't know if I think I did. They're about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick, and then we are going to make some horizontal lines, 2 of them, 2 on the top and 2 at the bottom, with a metallic silver marker. This is going to give it that barrel look. I love the way this turned out. I would love to know what you think of it, though. All right, once everything was set and dry, we're going to hot glue one of these foam rounds right inside, kind of like creating a sandwich. We're just going to hot glue it from the top and the bottom, making sure that both wood pieces are nice and even. Once it hardens, we're going to take a jute string. We're just going to thread it through the holes. Since they're already there, might as well use them. So I'm just going to make a couple of ties on each one. Once I had all 4 of them nicely tied, just cut off the excess, and now we have a cute little barrel style. How cute is this? All right, we're going to add florals, of course. We're going to take some of these from Dollar Tree, push the leaves upward, and cut off, leaving about between 3 and 4 inches. It doesn't matter. It's going to go right into the foam. I'm going to add hot glue to make sure they're going to stay in place. And we're going to add these pink ones, some blue ones, yellows. We're going to add all kinds of stuff. Now, this is a great project to do, to use all of those like leftover flowers you have from other projects. This is the kind to use. All right, so now we are going to bring in the sticker that we're going to use for this one. These have a beautiful vintage style. I'm going to take this horizontal thin one, and I'm going to place it right there in the upper right-hand corner, and I think it turned out gorgeous. You can use any florals you want. If you don't hot glue the florals, you can change them from season to season. Let me know what you think of this one. This next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I want to take this beautiful sticker set. It's perfect for Mother's Day if you want to create a custom gift. Now, I love that they're clear because they are perfect for what I'm about to bake. These dry flowers I got from a maker studio, but Amazon does carry these. They have beautiful purple tones, and I do have them in my Amazon store, like I said earlier. So if you want to check that out, it is linked in the description box. All right, so we are going to cut one of these laminating sheets. I also get this on Amazon because we don't want to waste it. We only need a little bit of it. I'm going to take this circular sticker and place it kind of where I think I want it. And then we're going to start placing some of the dried flowers. Just create whatever pattern and design that you want, but have fun. I love using these dried flowers. All right, so at this point, I'm not sure if it's going to work because we, of course, have to laminate this in the heat. And I don't know how the sticker is going to react, so let's see. All right, so once I have the design where I want it, we're just going to cover it up. And we're going to bring in the laminator. This is also from Amazon, and it's so easy. It's a Scotch brand, and you just want to place it. Now, it goes really slow, so I'm going to speed it up for you. But I want to show you the process because at this moment, I am praying, my friend. I don't know how that sticker, if it's going to melt or not, but it didn't. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. All right, so I like to put it through twice. I don't know why. I was taught this way. I put it through, and then I'm going to cut off the excess because we are making a bookmark. I love creating bookmarks, especially as gifts. And this one for Mother's Day is gorgeous. Look how beautiful this looks. This is the perfect sticker to use to create this clear bookmark. So we're going to cut off the X's and we're going to angle cut those top edges, poke a hole on the top, just like a bookmark, I guess. And then we're going to thread a beautiful lacy style burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. And we're just going to simply knot it. We don't need to make anything fancy. I think this is gorgeous. The fact that it's clear is so unique, so custom, great as a gift. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this little wooden, it's kind of like a crafting wooden picture frame. We're going to remove everything from it, including the middle portion, but don't worry, we're going to reuse it once again. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to paint the back of it because it's a little bare and I want it to look finished. So I'm just going to use this very neutral paint. This is Sandstone by Waverly. I'm going to do one coat and then leave it to the side so it dries. Again, I just want it to look finished. Then we're going to take the little design that it came with and we're going to take this piece of paper from Dollar Tree and we're going to trace it because we want it to have a different color and design inside of it. Now, you can use it as a picture frame. I decided to use it more decorative. I'm going to bring these paper. Again, this is from a paper pack from Dollar Tree, and they have different colors, different textures. I'm going to start ripping this one. When you rip it, it creates this like white border, and it looks gorgeous. So I'm just going to rip it in different sizes, and I am going to Mod Podge it all around the frame. Now, it doesn't matter how you stack it, how you do it, as long as the frame is covered. Now, I do want to overlap the edges because we are going to trim it afterwards. Once the entire frame was covered, I am going to give it one more coat of Mod Podge all over the surface and put it to the side and let it dry. This is what it looks like. Now, we are going to use my X-Acto knife. You can use a blade knife as well. Very carefully, take your time. Just cut around the edge on the outside as well as the inside to create a smooth edge. And once it's cut, this is what it looks like. How beautiful. And you can use any paper design you want. All right, so now we are going to replace that middle portion that we cut out earlier and just place it right there. And this is where we're going to bring in the sticker. Now, I decided to use a black and white sticker. It has a beautiful, kind of like a written style design, but you can use any sticker you want. And again, you can just put a picture. That's fine. I'm going to put this one right there in the center. I thought it would be very fun. I think the yellow really complements the design. And then, of course, we want to put that little dowel that came with the frame so that we can stand the frame. And we're just going to add a little bit of hot glue and place it right there where it belongs. And that's it, my friends. Look how gorgeous this looks. I think it's absolutely stunning. It could be used as a gift or just for yourself as decorative purposes. I would love to know what you think of this one. We're going to start with the whole one here. We're just going to remove everything from it, of course, and we're going to just open it up to make sure it's nice and open. Now we are going to cut off some strips. We're going to leave about 4 inches for now because we don't need it to be too long. We're going to take a little stack of it, set it to the side, and we're going to bring in one of these bead rings that you can find in the crafting aisle at Dollar Tree year round. These are gorgeous for $1.25. I'm going to start taking little bundles of the grass, and I'm just going to take about 4 or 5 of them and tie them around in between a couple of beads. Just tie it in a knot. That's it. I'm going to tie it in about 2/3 to between 2/3 and 1/4 of the ring. Once I have it completely attached, we're just going to try to fan them out a little bit and then cut off the excess. We're going to leave about 3 inches. Again, just start long and then cut as needed. It's better to cut a little bit and then cut more, just like I did here. I ended up cutting it to about 2.5 inches long, but you do what works best for you. Now we're going to take some greenery picks. These are from Walmart, but you can use the ones you can find at Dollar Tree. Walmart does have a great selection of greenery and flower picks, and sometimes it's a lot better quality and more bang for your buck, so check them out when you have a chance. All right, we're just going to take some jute string. We're just going to tie it around a couple of picks, one facing up, one facing down. The beauty of this ring is that you can use it either with the greenery and the florals towards the bottom or towards the side, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. This beautiful floral pick is from Walmart as well. I'm telling you, they have some beautiful choices. I'm going to cut a couple of the picks and again just place them one towards the top, one towards the bottom, securing it with hot glue as needed. And we're going to take one of the beautiful navy blue florals from the same pick and place it right there in the center. Now you're going to see here in a couple of pictures, one is facing towards the bottom like you see here. In the next slide, you're going to see it on the side. It's gorgeous. Love, love, love the way this one turned out. But let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take the leftover grass skirts and we are going to cut them even more. We're going to cut 24 inches and we're going to cut them into 2-inch little tiny grass strips, just like you see here. Now we are going to hot glue the ends because this is going to prevent the grass from leaving the string that it comes on. So just keep that in mind. Hot glue it and then cut as needed. So now that we have 24 inches, we're going to take a wood slice and we are going to hot glue the strip all around the wood slice and we're going to just do it right on top of my cutting mat. Now hot glue will get on the cutting mat and I'll show you how to remove that here in just a bit. Now looking back, instead of a piece of 24 inches long, I should have done 26 and you're going to see a little bit. I do have to add extra at the end. All right, just going to keep adding hot glue and adding the strip all around and then adding a second layer white on top. All right, so I did add a lot of glue to my cutting mat, so I'm just going to use one of Dollar Tree scrapers, and we are going to just scrape it off. That's it. It's so easy. It comes off right away. You may have to do it a couple of times to remove everything, but it comes off very clean, and that way you don't have to worry about it. All right, so we are going to just add that second layer right on top of the other one, and the first one takes a little longer, but the second one goes really fast. And then this is when I decided to add just a little bit more because 24 inches was not long enough for my wood slice, but cut whatever you need for the wood slice that you have on hand. So we're just going to secure it in place here and cut off any excess. Now we're going to trim off a little bit more. They just seem a little too long for what I was looking for, but again, cut them in whatever size you want. I want this piece to be able to hang on the wall. It's very lightweight, so I'm just going to add a couple of strips of hot glue towards the back, a little bit of jute string, just loop it around, and then we're going to add glue again and masking tape just to make everything nice and secure. But you don't have to worry too much about it because it's not a heavy piece at all. So just add that as you need. Now we're going to flip it over and we are going to paint the front. Now looking back again, hindsight is 20/20, right? I should have painted it before, but it's okay. I do want to paint, but leave that little wood slice type of like color on the sides, on the edge. So I don't want to paint it all the way through the edge. So just add color, or you can leave it in the wood tone. It's completely up to you. I decided to use white paint. This is Waverly chalk paint in the white, and I did only one coat as I thought that was all that it needed. I'm going to put it to the side, let it dry, and then once dry, we're just going to sand it smooth just a little bit to smooth it out and distress it, and then wipe it really well. I'm going to bring one of these beautiful stickers from Dollar Tree. They have beautiful designs, like a wreath style design. It already has a sticky behind, but I am going to add hot glue. And I'm just making sure that the little hanging piece is vertically to the top, and then adding the sticker where it goes. And that's it. What an easy craft. This would be a great for a gift. Awesome little piece to add anywhere in your home. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with a water bottle. This is one of the larger ones. We're going to remove the cap as well as the little ring that it has and the paper that has all around. Now you can use any water bottle you have. You can use a wine bottle for this. Whatever you have, it's fine. We're going to take another one of the skirts, and we are going to again hot glue the end. That way it's not going to come off, and we're going to do that on both ends, cutting off the excess jute string. And then the goal is to attach the top of the grass skirt to the bottom of the water bottle. So we're going to take it little by little, section by section, adding hot glue, and then adding the grass skirt just like you see here. Now you want to do it little by little because it has that curved and it will slide on you. So just do it slowly and precisely. And you also want to hold it until it hardens because the plastic will melt, kind of like soften, I guess, a little bit. You just want to let it harden, and it'll be no time before it's done. So I'm just going to keep doing it around and around until the entire skirt is hot glued onto each other around the bottom of the water bottle, and it goes pretty fast. So that's what it should look like on the bottom. Keep it as straight as possible. And then now we're just going to kind of brush all the skirt strips just like you see here with my fingers, and then we're just going to just wrap it around the water bottle until it kind of wraps all the way around. So take your time, really use those fingers to just really brush through, straighten them out, hold them as you're doing it, and then once you have it in a place where you want, take some jute string, tie it around in a simple knot. That's it. So easy. Now this can be just a regular decorative piece, or you can use it as a flower vase. It's up to you. I am going to cut off the excess skirt strips right there, and we are just going to just fan it off as needed. I'm going to take some more jute string, and I'm going to cut 5 pieces of 12-inch long, and then we are going to tie it around the top and just tie it in a simple knot. That's it. Now we are going to add some greenery because I want this to have a very, I don't know, like a luau kind of tone to it. So I'm just going to add some leafy greens and these beautiful purple flowers from Dollar Tree right there in the center. And again, you can leave it just as a decorative piece, which I think is gorgeous, or you can add flowers to it as well. Love this one. It's one of my favorites from today, but let me know what you think. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take these napkin rings that you can find in the party aisle at Dollar Tree year round. They have this beautiful design. It's almost like a straw design right there on the top. However, one of them was missing. I don't know why I even grabbed it. It's okay. We're not going to need it anyways. I'm going to end up removing all the ones from the rest of them. And it worked out well because it left a little sticky residue that's going to help the grass stick to it. All right, so this is leftover from the previous project. We are just going to add these strips after I cut them off, and we're just going to wrap the rings around with it. So I'm just going to grab about 4 or 5 strips at a time, wrap it around, securing it in place with hot glue as needed. Use a little finger protecting silicone piece. I get mine at Dollar Tree, and it really helps to protect your fingers. But that's what it looks like. And then we are going to do the rest, and just like magic, there they are. So here we have, now we are going to add a little bit of greenery, of course, right on top of each, and then a cute little pink flower, actually 2 little pink flowers on each, just to add beautiful color for spring and the summer. This is coming together so nicely. Again, you can use any color combination you want, Whatever you want to add to the top is up to you. I think they look stunning, so precious, so beautiful, perfect again for spring or summer, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. I'm going to take this piece and we're going to remove, of course, the tag, and then we're going to remove a few pieces from this one. I'm using my wire cutters, but you can use scissors, you can use shears, whatever you have. It is a pretty flimsy plastic, so it will cut very easily. Later on, I'm going to show you another tool that I used. I'm going to use my blade knife just to kind of shave off some of the pointy edges that were remaining, and then I'm going to cut off another one. We're only going to need 2 for this one, but of course, we're going to reuse whatever's left for other projects. So now that we have the 2, we are going to join them together just like this. So I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue. Don't worry about it showing because we are going to cover that up. Once it was hardened, I'm just going to flip it over and I'm just going to add one more strip of glue. This is just to really reinforce that bond. I'm going to use some paint sticks for this one, but you can use whatever you have on hand. I'm going to try to frame the entire piece into a decorative door. So I'm just going to start making some marks as well as some cuts, and I'll show you here. I'm just going to keep kind of dry fitting, marking where I need. I'm going to need 3 for the bottom, middle, and top, so total 3. And then for the sides, I'm going to need 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to dry fit, mark where I need to mark, and then I'm going to need 4 for those. So the way I do it is I'm just going to stack them up and I'm going to tape them together. And that way the ones that have the mark will be on top and I can cut them all at once. I'm going to do the same thing with the other stack, just stack them together, tape them together, and this is where we're going to make cuts. Now I'm going to use my miter saw, but if you do not have a miter saw, Amazon has these miter boxes, which I do have one as well. You can just use this to make cuts, and it cuts through the paint sticks very well. Here we are. I just made the cuts. Now we're going to remove the tape, and then we're going to start framing. And it's just basically like a puzzle. I really enjoy this part. So you just want to start hot gluing as needed, putting one piece at a time, taking your time and enjoying the process. So the door is taking shape and I could not be any happier. How stinking cute is this? Now here's where you can do whatever you want. You can stain the wood before you attach them and leave the fence black. In this case, I decided to paint the whole thing white. You can paint the whole thing any color you want. It's up to you. I'm going to do one coat of the Waverly chalk pen in the white. And I'm not going to look for perfection once again because we are going to be distressing it. But you can skip this part if you want. I'm going to use my antiquing wax. I'm just going to start adding and removing as needed, focusing in areas where it would naturally distress. And then once I had it where I want it, I am going to take my sanding block and I'm just going to mute the antiquing wax. I'm just going to sand over it, muting it a little bit as well as distressing the actual fence pieces. Now you can use a sandpaper if you want. Sanding blocks I love using. You can find these at Dollar Tree, but I get mine in a bundle on Amazon. And I do have anything that I mentioned on Amazon, I do have in my Amazon store, which is linked down below. These stickers are really cool. They have a very 3D textured look to them. I'm going to add one on each corner. I just thought it added texture and just, I don't know, a cool look. So I'm going to add one on or 2 on the top and 2 at the bottom. And then there's a little bit hanging from the sides. I'm just going to use my wire cutters here and just snip it off. That's it. Now I do have this cute little wreath. This is from Target Dollar Spot that I got pretty much years ago. I think it was like 4 years ago. I love these because they're a great size. I'm just going to tie it to the door using jute string, and I love the way this turned out. I love the color scheme. I love everything about it. But again, you can use any color you want. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another set of the fence and we are going to cut off a couple of pieces, specifically the outside pieces, because we do want to keep those little connecting hooks that it comes with. And I'll show you why. So we're going to do the other side as well. And then we are going to need a third piece. So we're going to use a newer piece and we are going to cut off a third piece. And again, we're just going to use my blade knife to kind of shave off some of those little pointy parts that can scratch you. So now that we have all 3 pieces, I am going to remove the clips on the third one. I'm going to join 2 of them using the connecting clips that it comes with. And then I'm going to join the third one into a triangle shape, just like you see me doing here. And we are going to do that with some zip ties from Dollar Tree. Now we're going to use these are the smaller ones, and we're just going to start attaching them 2 on each side. And then just make sure that you kind of turn the little cutoff piece towards the inside of the what will be a lantern. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. These little zip ties are at Dollar Tree. I usually find them in the automobile kind of section where you can find tools as well as tape. Here you have it. We have a cute little beginning of a lantern. Now these chains are from Dollar Tree. They are in the garden section during spring and summer. This is ones you can use to hang flower baskets. I'm going to remove the excess chain that I do not need, and then I'm going to place the hook at the bottom of each chain, and that way we can clip the lantern to it. Now the lantern had these little corners where there was a little opening, but they were too small and I couldn't fit the clips. So I'm just going to whiten it out using my drill and a drill bit that's going to be a little wider. And I did that in all 3 corners. And that way we can attach the little hooks to each corner. And there you have it. How stinking cute is this looking? You can put anything to this lantern. You can put florals, you can put any other type of lighting. I'm going to use these fairy lights that I do get on Amazon because they're just so easy to work with. It comes with a battery already. I'm going to use 2 packs. I'm going to thread one towards the bottom and then one towards the top, and then I'm going to attach with hot glue the battery pack to the back of the lantern. That way they're not going to go anywhere. Now to the top rim of the lantern, I'm going to use these greenery picks from Dollar Tree. This is only 1 pick, and I removed some of the picks, and we're just going to tie them with some zip ties, making sure that I start the next one where the other one ended. And they're all going to kind of look droopy, kind of like they're just falling over the lantern, and they're just going to look nice and natural. When you are zip tying, make sure that you are only zip tying the greenery and not the chain, because yeah, talking from experience. Anyways, just attach them as needed, adjust as needed, and I gotta tell you, boy oh boy, is this a beautiful piece. I love this one. In the evening, it has a beautiful glow. You can use it on an outdoor, as long as it's covered, outdoor patio or even indoor. Love, love, love. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to start with this board that I found recently at the thrift store. It had some carvings on it, so I'm going to attempt to fill it with this spackle from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to add here and there and then put it to the side in front of a fan to let it dry. I'm hoping it works, but I'll show you if it did or not. All right, these are the leftover little arches from the fences from the previous projects. I'm going to use 3 of them, and I'm just going to cut them in a nice straight angle, and then we are going to make sure that the other 2 are similar size. And I'm going to use, again, my wire cutters. I'm going to paint them in 3 different colors. I'm going to do one in red, one in blue, and one in white. This is going to be a little bit more in the patriotic theme, but of course you can use any colors you want. You can leave them black if you want. You can paint them white, whatever you want. It's up to you. I'm going to put those to the side to dry, and then we are going to bring in the board, which is already dry. Now, it did get kind of yellow on me, so that had me pretty worried. I'm going to use my sanding block to remove the excess spackle, but that was not fast enough, so I moved over to my electric sander, and I'm just going to sand it over. Now, it was still kind of, you can feel the engrave, but it's okay. We're going to paint it white, and I'm going to use, again, Waverly Chalkman in the white. I'm going to do one pretty heavy coat and put that to the side. Once dry, you can see that it turned yellow on me, and you can actually feel the engraving still on it. So we are going to move on, and we are going to cover it using vinyl. This is leftover vinyl that I had on hand. It's white, but again, you can use any color you want. We're just going to cover it, remove any bubbles that may be left behind, and then using my scraper, really making sure it's attached, and using my electric sander, we're going to remove the excess paper from the edges. This is also going to leave a very smooth edge. Now we are going to attach the arches. We're going to take hot glue. We're just going to attach the blue one first on one side. Then we're going to do the red on the other. And then we're going to do the white one on top of the 2, right there in the center. This beaded patriotic garland is so cute. You can find it at Dollar Tree in their 4th of July or like, American aisle. And I'm just going to start wiggling and kind of shaping it into the pattern that I like and just hot gluing it in place. And this is all we're going to do to it. You can add whatever you want, my friends. You can add USA. You can add any other saying, God bless America. I wanted to keep it simple. Love the way this one turned out. I love simplicity and how absolutely cool that we use those leftover arches. Love this. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. We're going to start with this beautiful wreath form. It has a kind of like a tire kind of look. I'm also going to be using Rust-Oleum white spray paint. We're just going to take it outside. We're going to spray it a couple of times until it's nice and covered. I am going to place it underneath a fan to speed up the drying process. And this is what it looks like. So cute. We're going to take a pool noodle, which you can find during the spring and summer season at Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut up about maybe 7-8 inches off of it, cut open with the scissors one of the side, and then we're just going to slide it right in and secure it with hot glue. This is going to help me add some florals to the wreath form. It is bright green, so we are going to cover it just a bit using some burlap ribbon. You can use any other ribbon you want or fabric. We're going to secure it with hot glue. And then this netting kind of fabric, it's gorgeous. I got from burlapfabric.com a long time ago. I still have several yards left over. I'm just going to tie it around on that same area, going from the center, kind of going towards the top and the bottom. I am tying it with jute string. That way it blends in really well with the material, but it'll hold it in place. This greenery pick, it's gorgeous from Dollar Tree. It has long, very flexible greenery, and we're just going to attach it with hot glue in the pool noodle foam as well as jute string to tie it going upwards as well as going downwards. And again, it just works really well. It blends in very nicely, and then I can adjust it in the angle that I want. We're going to add some of these greenery and yellow tone picks also from Dollar Tree. We're just going to start adding them here and there to fill in a little bit. I ended up having to add another whole pick just to add fullness, and you'll see that here in a minute. But I'm just going to start adding some of the picks, again, adding with hot glue. This is the orb we're going to be using. It's a beautiful navy tone. I'm going to cut off the excess jute string from the top, and then I'm going to add some towards the kind of like in between the netting. That way we can attach it around the wreath form and it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to add, here's that extra pick, and I am going to add another one actually in just a bit, just to kind of, again, make it very full. Dollar Tree also has these starfish. They're plastic. They come in a set of 3. I'm going to take a couple of them. One of them's going to go right next to the orb. We're going to hot glue it in place. The other one's going to go a little bit lower, and again, we're just going to hot glue it in place just to kind of fill in and give it that coastal beachy look that I'm going for. And here's what I realized, that I just needed an extra pick from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to add hot glue and then just place it again right there inside that foam. That really filled it in. All right, these sand dollars are also there at Dollar Tree. They come also 3 in a pack. I'm just going to use one of them. We're just going to nestle it right there on the top portion and attach it with hot glue. Dollar Tree also has these pieces. I've never seen them before. They have either a sand dollar, a seashell, or a sailboat, and they have these little wooden pieces hanging from it. I'm going to take the wooden pieces. I'm just going to attach it towards the bottom. I just want to add a little bit more texture and color to the wreath, and then we're going to put the sailboat right inside, right there, underneath the florals and underneath the orb. This is just going to be gorgeous. I'm going to hot glue it in place. It's not that heavy. I'm going to make sure that greenery is popping through right there. Stunning. I love it. I put it first because it's my favorite from today. Love the design. What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with these jar. You can find them in the Dollar Tree summer section. It is clear glass and it has a wooden top. Gorgeous, gorgeous. We're going to remove that sticker. It was a little stubborn, so I'm just going to use my heating tool, and it removed very quickly. I'm going to remove the top temporarily. We're going to add some white sand from Dollar Tree, just about maybe 1/3 filled. And I'm going to add some of this faux greenery picks. These are from Dollar Tree. We're just going to add it, helping with my sisters to just kind of really get it in there. We're going to create what will look like a snow globe, but it's just going to be a sand globe. Get it? All right, we're going to add some of these blue rocks. They are just glass, and then as well as some of these faux diamonds, just to add a little texture and just kind of like, I don't know, under the sea kind of look. These little clothespin have little seahorses, some starfish. They're really cute. For the seahorse, I'm just going to remove half of the clothespin and attach it right there in the sand globe. And then the little starfish, we're just going to heat it up with my heating tool and then remove it. That way it's going to not have that showing. And then we're going to place it right there towards the center. Again, using my scissors to help me out. We're going to place the top right on top, and then we're going to take the clear orb, remove the little jute string top portion, and we're going to take some of these LED lights that are battery operated. I get these on Amazon. I'm going to poke a hole. I'm going to melt a hole onto the bottom of the orb, and then once it's cooled down, I'm going to thread the lights right through it, and then we are going to attach the orb on top of the jar of the wooden top and hot glue it, and then just kind of hold it until it hardens. I'm going to take some of this alien tape. It works wonders. I get it on Amazon. Place some on the back of the jar, and this is where we're going to place the battery pack, and that way it's not going to go anywhere. Look how gorgeous this is. I love that it lights up, because by now you probably know that I like things that light up, but I just love the simplicity, the freshness, and how fun. You can add whatever you want. Let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this little milk jug jar. I got this at Facebook Marketplace a long time ago. I'm going to fill it in with some sand again. And this time we're also going to add some of these blue glass rocks. But here's the thing. I thought this was going to look better. I wanted them to kind of show in between the sand. It didn't work out. Yep. They were covered as the sand was moved around, and yeah, they just got hidden. But anyways, I just thought I'd show you the process. All right, we're going to take one of those greenery and put it in there from Dollar Tree, as well as some of these coastal ones that you can find in the summer section at Dollar Tree, and place it right in front. How cute and easy. We're going to use the teal orb for this one, and we are going to poke another hole because we're going to light this one up again. And the same thing, we're going to let it cool down, and then we're going to thread more LED lights right inside. This one we are going to place right inside the arrangement, but we're going to use this balloon stick. You can find these in the party aisle. And I did cut off quite a bit of it because I needed to be shorter. We're going to thread the battery pack right through the top, and then we're going to add hot glue to the rim. And this is how we're going to attach the orb. It worked perfect. Highly recommend this if you're going to recreate this. Once it's hardened, we're just going to place it right inside. And then the battery pack, we're just going to hide in the back right there inside. Nobody's going to see it. All right, we're going to take some burlap ribbon, and we're going to fold it in half, cut off excess, and we're going to hot glue it around the rim of the arrangement just to kind of cover that thread. We're going to take another one of those little seahorses in the clothespin, and this one we're just going to attach right there in the front. How stinking cute. Love, love, love the way this one turned out. It glows beautifully in the dark. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this piece of scrap wood. It was part of an arrangement that I had on the wall that I removed. And then this relaxed wooden wood from Dollar Tree has a beautiful nautical rope design on it. And we're just going to remove the little hooks from it because we're not going to need it. We are going to attach it to the board, but I am going to add a couple of these tumbling blocks, Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree, just to add thickness and more stability. We're going to add hot glue all the way on the bottom, and then we are going to place it right there. And I'm going to add one more block behind the art just to kind of hide it, but also add more stability. We're going to add a teal orb on one side, a clear one on the other side, and then we're going to add greenery. This is just going to mimic what will look like seaweed, and we're just going to add it onto some foam and then add the foam onto the board. And this will hold it in place nicely. I'm going to do that one more time on the other side over there by the R. And then we're going to add some extra little pieces underneath each orb just to kind of fill it in and bring everything together. I'm going to add some of these felt pads on the bottom. This is a piece of scrap wood, so I don't want it to scratch any surface. So I'm going to add one in each corner. You can find these at Dollar Tree, usually right around where like the car area is. But nonetheless, I love the way this one turned out. It's such a great piece to add in a mantle or console table. Love the look. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. On a recent trip to the thrift store, I found so many frames. I brought this one home and it's actually like a canvas, but it has a beautiful frame inside. So we're going to remove everything from it, including, of course, the canvas. We're just going to remove all these staples, and it took a while, but anyways, it's okay. We're just going to use a couple of tools here and then just pull them out. Now, once I remove that canvas, let me tell you, these frames are built so strong, so sturdy. Now, this one for some reason had like the same sticker over and over again. I don't know why. I used my little heating tool and my little screwdriver, removed it, and I'm just going to give it one pretty heavy coat of Waverly chalk paint in the white. You can use any color you want, of course. I'm not looking for perfection because we will be distressing it. But of course, that is optional. Once it was drying, I'm going to pull out these popsicle sticks. These are just the ones you get at the craft store. Now, I'm going to leave 3 of them in the natural wood tone. And then I'm going to paint 3 of them white, 2 of them blue, and I'm going to stain 2 of them in a brown. Here's the thing. Depending on the frame you have, you're just going to need either more or less popsicle sticks. It's up to you. Now, you can also use paint sticks if your frame is larger, because that way we need them to cover from side to side, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to put those to dry here in a minute. I am going to wipe the excess of the stain here, and then we're going to distress the frame. Again, this is optional. You do not have to do this. I'm going to use my electric sander. This is my Ryobi sander. Love, love, love using it. And then we're going to wipe it well. And now we're just going to arrange the popsicle sticks in a color scheme that kind of makes sense to the eye and design. We're going to attach them now using hot glue because they're so light, it works really well. You can also staple them if you need. And also if you are using paint sticks, maybe do staple them as well as hot glue them. All right, so now we're just going to follow the color scheme just one by one, adding hot glue in each corner and as needed. I love the way this turned out. The colors are so summery, so nautical. Now, Dollar Tree has these hooks. They have them in different designs for summer. What I love about them is you can use them, of course, as hooks for towels or clothing. But I am going to remove the hook portion of it with a screwdriver. And now we're going to be left with a beautiful design of a starfish. And we're just going to hot glue it onto the center. Hot glue did the work. It is a pretty light piece, but you can also use E6000 if you'd like. We're going to reuse that little hook that came with it, but just one of them. We're going to place it right on top. That way we can hang this piece. And I got to tell you, the simplicity, the freshness of this project, love, love, love. Loved using these old frames, and I love using Dollar Tree inexpensive items. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Find this other canvas style frame. I love canvases. You know why? Because of that frame. This one has a kind of cute design, but it's just not my style. So we're going to reuse it. Once again, same exact design on the back. We're going to remove the hook portion, remove all the staples, and then remove all these stickers from the back. I don't know why they put so many. The heating tool does well. Now for this one, it did leave a little bit of a sticky residue. So I'm just going to slightly sand down the edges and remove that stickiness, and then we are going to wipe it really well. We're going to paint this one in a beautiful blue paint. This is more like a bluish, I think it's called Ocean by Waverly. Love this color for summer. I'm just going to give it one coat. It has such great coverage, and then we're going to put it to the side and let it dry. Nothing fancy. Just put it under a fan. It'll dry really quick. Now, I don't know what happened to my footage, but I didn't record it apparently. So what I did here is once it was dry, I distressed it just like I did the other one on the edges. And then I took one of these fabric burlap rolls from Dollar Tree. I had this leftover from last year. I cut out a piece that would fit right behind the frame and cover that middle section. I hot glued it as well as put a staple in each corner, just like that. I also drilled a couple of holes on the top using a large drill bit. And I did that because we want to hang it. Now, I am so sorry. I don't know what happened to that footage, but again, I just went over it. If you have any questions, of course, let me know down in the comments. All right, so now we are going to thread some of this burlap ribbon. It's kind of snug, so I'm using my screwdriver to help me. And once I have it all set, I just want it to look nice and pretty right there on top. But you can use whatever you want to hang it. You can use hooks, you can use sawtooth hooks, whatever you want. I think using the burlap ribbon really complements the design. We're just going to tie it in a simple knot, and we are going to cut off the excess, just like that. Now, I do want to add one of these starfish that come 3 in a pack. They also have sand dollars at Dollar Tree. Great for crafting. I'm going to hot glue one right there to the bottom right corner. A little hot glue is sufficient. And then we're just going to use this as an earring holder. And I love this. This would be a great gift for someone Mother's Day. The possibilities are endless. You can make even larger ones with a larger frame. Love the style. Love the functionality of this one. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next DIY craft, I'm going to take this set of 4 frames that came together for $1.99. What a great deal. Now, they're not all the same. I did realize that once I opened them, but they're all very similar in color and size. One of them was a little smaller, but we're going to make it work. So I'm going to remove everything from them, including all the little tabs and the little hooks from the back that is holding that center, because we're not going to need them. Now, I'm sure you've seen many windows design made with picture frames. I hope I can give you a new idea to make with them. Now, we're going to lightly sand it just to remove any dust, any grime, and just to sand down that sheen that they had. Wipe it really well, make sure that it's dry, and then we are going to attach them. The goal here is to attach them in the shape of a window, but you can do whatever you want. Now, because they are a little bit different in shape and size, we are going to make sure that the edges align, and I'll show you how that works. I'm going to use hot glue and E6000. You see how that's flush on one end? That's what we're looking for. We're going to do the same thing with the other ones, just hot glue them to each other, and then we're going to hot glue those two to the other one. Again, using a combination of E6000 and hot glue for a quick hold and permanent hold. We're going to flip it over, and then we are going to add some popsicle sticks for extra security. We're going to hot glue them. We're also going to staple them. Now that everything's nicely attached, we're going to give it a couple of coats of this Waverly chalk paint in the celery tone. Beautiful color, but you can use whatever color you want, of course. White would be beautiful, blue, teal, gorgeous. We're going to do a couple of coats, so we're just going to add this one, let it dry, and then we're going to add another one. Once it was dry, we're going to take some of this white nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and we are going to line the entire edge. So all around the frame, we're going to add this, and we're also going to add it in the center and crisscross it. We just want to add a little bit of texture, bring everything together, and then in the center, we just want to cover those openings and any hot glue or glue that you can see. All right, so currently at Dollar Tree, they have all of these summer picks. I love these. This is the first time me seeing these. They have a very nautical, beachy look. Love it. So I'm just going to use this one. It even has a little seahorse right on it. We're going to hot glue it, and we're also going to wrap it around with some of this natural tone nautical rope, again from Dollar Tree. This is just to add a little bit of different tone and texture, but you can use the white nautical rope as well, or even ribbon. We're going to hot glue it and secure it to cut off the excess, and we're going to add another one of those starfish on top of the rope, as well as one there on the side. And look how gorgeous this is. You can add whatever other designs, florals you want to it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next DIY craft, I'm going to take another one of this canvas style frames. We're going to remove, again, everything from it, including the sawtooth hook. We're going to have to remove a lot of paper from this one. This one took me a while, friends. I'm not going to lie. But it's so satisfying at the same time because you don't know what you're going to find. underneath these canvases. All right, this one has very different texture, very porous. I did sand it just a bit, and we're going to paint this one white. You know I love white. Now, I do like color here and there, but white is my go-to. But with this one, I just felt white was perfect for it. We're going to paint all around the frame and put it to the side to dry. Once it was dry, again, we are going to distress it, but don't stress. You can skip this part if you want. I just like a little bit of distress look. We're going to use one of the remaining little hooks from the previous project. We're going to add it to the back. Now, these picks are gorgeous, and they're from Dollar Tree for $1.25. They're nice and long and flimsy. I'm just going to start stapling them, starting at the bottom left corner and then bringing it up on the other side, and then adding as needed to kind of make it a little fuller. But friends, we only used one pick. One. Gorgeous. Love it. So we're going to keep hot gluing, stapling as needed. Dollar Tree also has these picks, and I think these were more in the springtime. We are going to use the green tone ones, and we're just going to cut off little bundles of the picks and hot glue them in between the greenery. That way, it's just going to make it fuller, add a pop of lighter green color, texture. Love the way this one turned out. So simple, so fresh. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. This wood round is gorgeous. It already comes framed and planked, and is such a great crafting staple in my craft room. I'm going to remove the just a little juice string with the beads. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, and then we are going to take this rub-on transfer from Essential Stencil. It's one that I already had on hand. You can use Dollar Tree rub-on transfers as well, or even a reusable stencil, or just leave it blank, whatever you want. I'm going to start applying it by rubbing it on with one of my scrapers, and basically you just want to rub and lift the plastic as needed until the design is attached. It attaches so good. It's so satisfying. Love the chicness of it, and it's such an easy way to add beautiful touch of decor. All right, so now I'm just going to lightly sand it, also cut off any excess that you see there in between the planks just to make it nice and professional looking. Then we are going to start adding the tumbling blocks. Now I'm going to add them one by one, of course, and I'm going to alternate the colors from light to dark, and then we're going to add 2 levels. So one across all the way around, and then another level right on top. And I'm just going to make sure that I place them kind of like where they each meet. Then the one on top I put right there in the center, and I did that all around. Love the way this is looking, and it's such an easy craft. Look how gorgeous those 2 tones look. I'm going to take a white nautical rope from Dollar Tree, but you can use the natural tone as well. I'm going to knot it, and then we are going to cut off any excess rope, and we're going to knot the other side as well, leaving about maybe 4 inches, 3.5 in between. It does not matter. And then we're just going to attach it using hot glue. This is strictly decorative, okay? Just to add some handles. It is not to carry anything heavy, of course. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, just making it, of course, as close as possible to the same size as the other one. Love the way this is turning out. Now, I do like to add felt pads to the bottom of any decorative trays or anything that's going to go on a surface, because we don't want to scratch any surfaces. So these felt pads you can find at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to add 4 of them. And then once you flip it, it's just nice and smooth. If you want to gift it, if you want to sell it, such a great craft. Love this. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to start hot gluing some of these blocks. Now, I'm going to use more of the lighter tone ones and just here and there some of the darker ones. We're going to start with about 5 of them, and then we're going to do 4 and then 3, so on and so forth. This is going to create a what will look like a sailboat. We're going to stack them up twice too. We're just going to make it thick so that it can stand on a surface, just like you see here. After it was nicely secure, I am going to give it a couple of coats of Waverly chalk paint in the white. I'm not looking for perfection because I am going to be distressing it. While it dries, I am going to take this huge skewer stick from Dollar Tree. You can find these during the summer season. And this fabric section is so awesome. They have regular ones for all the seasons, and then this one is the nautical style one. We're going to use this one, iron out a little bit of the creases. And then we're going to take this skewer stick and we're just kind of measure out, just kind of eye out how much you need to cut off and cut off a piece from the fabric. Now we're going to keep this one because we are going to use it again in just a little bit. Here we are, we're going to distress just a little bit. Now you can skip this part, you don't have to distress it. I'm going to carefully drill a hole right there in the center on top. Now I'm not even doing any force down, I'm just letting the drill go in by itself. And then we are just going to add hot glue and then the skewer stick right there. The skewer stick was 10 inches long, just so that you know. I'm going to cut off in a shape of a triangle with that angle cut. And then we're going to hot glue it right there onto the skewer stick. This is going to look like the sail. Now I want to add another one. Now you can use the same fabric if you want. I did decide to add drop cloth. I just feel like it adds dimension, color, and just texture from the beautiful texture this fabric has. Same thing, I'm just going to cut off a piece and then cut it at an angle and then hot glue it right there next to the other one behind it because I do want to see the skewer stick on the front. Now this one is a little smaller and that was done on purpose. I wanted the sails to have different sizes. How gorgeous is this looking? All right, so now basically what we want to do is we want to add more skewer stick to each sail so that they stay nice and kind of like upright so they don't fold off flimsy on us. So I'm just going to cut as needed and hot glue it to the bottom. We're going to do the same thing on the other fabric, again, just to add that stability. We're almost done, but I am going to take this anchor. This is a wooden anchor that comes about maybe 5 in a pack from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it blue. This is a beautiful ocean blue from Waverly, and I'm just going to hot glue it right there on the left side. I'm going to take this red scarf. Now this one is just because I didn't have any other red fabric. I'm just going to cut off what will look like a little triangle, and this is going to mimic a flag. We're just going to hot glue it to the top tip. I think it just added a cute little nautical touch to it. This is gorgeous, and you can use any fabric you want. I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to take the leftover fabric and we're going to cut it into strips. These are about 2-inch, 2.5 strips. Don't stress about it. It does not matter. I have found that if you cut a fabric into strips, it goes a long way. I'm going to take one of these foam wreath form from Dollar Tree. You've seen me craft with these. They are so versatile. Another one that I keep in my crafting stash all the time. I'm going to start attaching the fabric strips one by one, hot gluing as needed, and I'm going to end and start in each one. And then we're just going to go all the way around from one side to the other, making sure that the anchors are all facing the same direction. Once it was completely covered, we are going to attach some of this nautical rope from Dollar Tree. We're just going to hot glue it in a kind of wiggly, wavy kind of style, just to mimic what a nautical, I don't know. I just felt like it looked nautical. All right, so I'm just going to hot glue it again all the way around and then cut off the excess at the end. Now, I am going to add or make a box framed using the wood pieces, the tumbling block pieces. Now, if you have any other framed box or anything you want to add, go ahead and do that. But I figured, hey, we have the blocks here, let's do it. So I'm just going to keep attaching and attaching one by one until I have a large enough box to add a turtle that I'm going to show you here where it's from. It's from Dollar Tree. Now I am going to frame the little box again using the tumbling tower blocks, and I am using my miter shears to cut them into the size that I need for those smaller pieces. And I do have these miter shears in my Amazon store, which is linked down below. Here are these pieces. Now you can find these in any shape. Now this one is a beautiful one with a turtle. I'm going to cut off the beads right off of it. Of course, we're going to keep that for other projects. I'm going to drill a couple of holes again very carefully, not putting a lot of pressure. And then I'm going to thread some jute string. This is how we're going to attach the box to the wreath form. So we're just going to wrap it around now, and in the back we're just going to tie it in a very simple knot and hot gluing as needed. I'm going to attach the turtle right inside the box with hot glue, and then I decided to add some greenery because I do love my greenery. You know that. I'm going to add it. This is a greenery pick from Walmart, but you can use ones as well from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to attach him on the top and the bottom. And then I did add another pick from Dollar Tree just here and there to add a little color dimension. But I love the way this one turned out. Love the simplicity, but yet so nautical, so summer. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this cardboard presentation board from Dollar Tree and my blade knife. You can use any cardboard you want, my friends. This blade knife is from Amazon, and I do have it on my Amazon store as well. All right, so I marked down about 2 inches, made a line down, and I'm going to use my tape just to round off those top edges. And you're going to see what I'm doing here. I am going to cut it off with my blade knife. And now the first one I did with my blade knife, and I thought, I think it's better with my scissors. So I just ended up finishing it with my scissors and then just use that first one to create 6 other ones, actually 5 other ones, to have a total of 6 of them. We're creating ice cream popsicles, and I thought, what an easy way to do it with some cardboard from Dollar Tree, but again, use any cardboard you have at home. Once I have the 5 of them nicely cut, we are going to paint them in bright, beautiful colors. This is just paint I already had on hand from Artisa. Please use whatever you have. You can paint them in whatever color you want. And I'm going to do each of them in a different bright and summery color. While those are drying, I am going to use my Cricut Joy Extra. Now, you don't have to use a Cricut, of course. You can use the carbon paper technique that I have used in the past. You can also freehand the letters with marker or paint, whatever you want. I had the Joy Extra on hand, so I figured let me just do it. So I'm just going to place the popsicles kind of like in a pattern that kind of go pleasing with the eyes in a color pattern. And then I'm going to place each letter just like a sticker, and it's going to spell the word summer. There you have it. How cute are these? Now, this board was left over from another project that I did years ago. I actually got rid of that, but I did keep the board. So I'm just going to clean it off a little bit, remove the hot glue from the back, and then we're going to add a couple of these sawtooth hooks to the back. Originally, this is what I wanted to hang this piece from, okay? I want to show you the entire process because it is a really good option. I'm going to place the popsicles right on top, leaving about 1 inch in between, and then hot gluing them 1 inch from the bottom edge. And I'm going to do the ones on the outside first, and then just attach the other ones. A little bit of hot glue goes a long way because it is cardboard and it will attach very nicely. We're going to use 6 of the tumbling tower blocks in the darker tone, and we're going to hot glue them underneath each popsicle. At this time, I'm kind of noticing, I think I'd rather add some white nautical rope to this to be able to hang it. I feel like it just needed it and it looks so much better. So I ended up then removing them and they remove pretty easily. And then we're going to add some of these white hooks that I do get on Amazon. And yes, I do have in my Amazon store. And then we're going to knot nautical rope from Dollar Tree. Just 1 knot in each. Is not a heavy piece, so a knot will do fine. And then to the other side as well. Gorgeous piece, so summery. Love that you can customize it. You can put your last name. You can put whatever you want to it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. With this cardboard, this is just one of those presentation boards from Dollar Tree, as well as one of these bright green noodles. Now, this one is a piece of one that I had left over from another project. So I'm just going to curve it, and then I'm going to mark on the cardboard where I need to cut because I want to create a rainbow. So I'm just going to keep marking and cutting using my blade knife very carefully, and we're just going to cut off that excess in the middle. Now it's time to place the pool noodles. I'm going to start with the green one, and you can use any color combination you want. It does not matter. I'm going to hot glue them in place, and the key here is you just want to hold it. Literally. Hot glue it, hold, hot glue, hold. That's it. Because the foam does melt. So if you don't hold it long enough for it to harden, it's just going to come off. So then we're going to move on to a blue one. And now don't mind the uneven edges. We're going to cut those. So we're just going to go around the green one and add the blue one. And then we're going to do the same thing with a red pool noodle. All right, as you can see, there's leftover noodles on the bottom, so we're just going to clean that up. I'm going to use my yardstick just to make sure I keep it nice and straight and even, and then use my phone knife to just be able to cut it. Now we're going to cut off the excess cardboard that you can see on the ends. I'm going to use my blade knife for that, and this is taking shape so beautifully. Dollar Tree's cleaning aisle has tons of dusting mops and dusting wands. These wands I've used several times for crafting. All you want to do is remove the handle by twisting back and forth and it'll come off, almost like you're untwisting a cap, just like that. Now it does remain with this metal stick. You just want to pull that all the way to the inside. So just fold it just like this and then just hide it in between the fuzzies. No big deal. It's really easy. Now we're going to hot glue it to the bottom of the pool noodle. So first thing we're going to do is add hot glue to the bottom edge. Then place one of the dusters right there. And again, just hold. We're going to do the other side, and this is just going to mimic some clouds. And I thought they were so cute. I'm going to add more hot glue towards the top of the noodles, and then we're just going to fold towards the top, just like you see me doing here. This is just going to make it nice and fluffy. How gorgeous is this? I would love to see this at a birthday party, maybe several of them. You can make them all one color, multiple colors, whatever you want. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the leftover blue noodle. It's about maybe 9 inches, but we're going to cut it to 8 inches long. Then we're going to bring in another red one and we're going to cut it to 10 inches and then another one to 12 inches. This is going to be a little bit more in the patriotic theme, but of course you can modify it to whatever colors you want. I'm going to take some jute string. This is the white kind. We're just going to tie them together. I put the 2 red ones in the back and then the shorter blue one in the front. We're going to cut off the excess and then we're going to bring in this beautiful scrunchie. I found this at Dollar Tree. How cute is this? I would totally wear this in July in my hair. We're going to wrap it around the noodles and we're just going to cover that jute string. And then this is going to be nice and decorative in the front. How cute is that? These stars come in a set of 3. One is red, one white, and one blue. We're just going to take each and we're going to insert them inside the pool noodles. We are going to cut off any excess stick that may be poking through the bottom and just going to add hot glue to the dowel, just like you see me here, and then just hold it again in place until it hardens. We're going to add the last one here, the white one, right inside that middle medium-sized pool noodle. And how adorable is this? They mimic firecrackers. It could be put in mantle, in a console table, outdoors, you name it. Love the way this one turned out, but what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the green pool noodle and we're going to cut off 12 inches. We're also going to cut off 12 inches of the red one. This is going to be such a cute one. This will be a great one to do with your kiddos if you want as well. We're going to take this piece of poster board. It comes in this size. It comes 6 in a pack at Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut it in half long ways. And then I'm just going to roll it up into a cone. Just make sure that when you are rolling it up, that the bottom portion is going to fit around the pool noodle. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to tape and hot glue as needed and then cut off any excess from the sides as well as even out the bottom. We're creating some cute little coloring pencils. You're going to love these. Now, you can use your scissors to do this part, but I do have this hole puncher that is the shape of a circle. So I'm just going to use this to mimic that little sharpened kind of style at the bottom of each pencil. And then we are just going to do that all the way around. We're going to hot glue it in place. Again, be very careful because the foam does melt with the hot glue, and just place it right there. How cute. We're going to take some construction paper in the green from Dollar Tree. We're just going to hot glue it at the bottom. I cut off maybe about 2.5 inches, give or take. And then we're going to hot glue it in place. Now, I picked colors that really complement each other as a coloring pencil. But again, you can do whatever you want. We're going to color the tip in this beautiful green. This is just an artisa green, but you can use any green you have. This is the one that I thought would match the best. We're just going to do that. And how cute is this looking? Oh my word. We're going to do the same thing here with the red one. We're going to speed it up. But just to review, we just made a little cone with the poster board. We cut off the little circle edge, hot glue it in place. We're going to add some red or pink construction paper to the bottom. And then I thought pink paint, but no, it was too pink. We're going to do red. And it worked really great. I'm just going to paint it all the way around. And look how stinking cute these look. This would be a great teacher gift, great for birthday parties, great for a kid's room or an art room. I love it. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. And we're going to start with one of these phone wreath rings from Dollar Tree. You can find them year round in the floral or crafting area. I'm going to remove the sticker and bring in several of these lemon themed flip flops. These are the kids medium size flip flops, and I'm going to use a total of 3 pairs. I'm going to start by simply hot gluing them facing kind of like sideways, just going around the ring, and then hot gluing one underneath each one. Now I quickly realized that I should be adding some wire as well. So I'm going to hot glue, then poke a couple of holes, thread red wire. This is just what I had at home, but you can use whatever flexible wire you have, and then twist it in the back. And I'm going to do that all around the wreath. Again, we're just going to hot glue, poke a couple of holes, thread the wire, and twist in the back. And we're going to cover the twisties in the back here in just a minute, but we're going to start by simply covering the entire wreath from one end to the other. I had bought 4 pairs to see if I needed an extra one, but I only needed the 3 pairs, so that's all I used. All right, so now we're going to cover all those little twisties in the back because they are pointy and they will be prickly. So we are going to cut this ribbon. This is just a leftover one I had from fall. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to hot glue and then just kind of thread it in between the foam ring as well as the flip-flops, and just hot glue, making sure that I am covering every part where that wire was twisted. I'm going to keep doing this until all of them are completely covered. Again, this is just to make sure it's not going to poke anyone or leave any scratches on any wall or surface. We're going to add some florals. These are some yellow and green picks from Dollar Tree, as well as one from Walmart because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough from Dollar Tree. I wanted to have picks that had that yellow tone. That way it's just going to complement the entire design. How I am attaching it, I am going to attach it on the outside of the rim of the wreath form. I'm just going to poke a small hole using my small screwdriver, adding glue to the picks, and then inserting them one by one. I'm going to do this all around, making sure that I am filling any holes and empty spaces with as many picks as I need. Before I add anything else, I want to make sure I add something to hang the wreath from. So I'm going to take this yellow ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to thread it through one side, tie it in a knot, and that's it. This is just going to serve as a place where we can hang the wreath form. I'm going to take these Dollar Tree flowers. We're going to add 5 of them on the outside perimeter, kind of like in between the greenery picks and the flip-flops. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to poke a hole with my small screwdriver, add hot glue, and add a flower. And then I do want to add one more. This is going to be towards the bottom right corner of the wreath. And I'm just going to add a hole right there on that flip-flop, add some glue, and then add the flower. This is absolutely stunning. What a beautiful way to use these flip-flops. I love the colors, but I'd love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this square canvas. This is the flat kind. You can find this in the crafting aisle. I'm also going to use one of these 2024 calendars. I love that they bring these every year. This one has a beach design, and I love this March design. So I'm just going to tear that off, and we're going to use that to cover the canvas. We're going to use Gorilla adhesive spray, and I'm going to spray the surface of it. I'm going to place the design exactly where I want it. So I want to have the swing, a little bit of the palm tree, of course. So once I have it where I want it, I'm just going to flatten out. And then we're going to sand down the edges using my sanding block. And we are just going to do it in a downward motion. This is going to remove the excess paper, as well as really make those edges very smooth and flush to the canvas. These are the flip-flops we're going to use. You can use whatever flip-flops you want. These are some that I already had and some that I just recently purchased. I'm going to cut off about 2 inches from the bottom of each flip-flop. These are adult sizes. Either some are medium and some are large. I'm going to start hot gluing them, one on the top, the matching pair on the bottom, so directly across from it. And then I'm going to add another pair directly on the sides across from each other, just like you see here. Now we are going to add, of course, 2 more pairs. Now those corner ones, we're just going to cut off the corners from the bottom and we're just going to add it right there. You see how that fits very nicely? And then just hot glue and hold until it hardens. Cutting those edges or those corners really help to really fit in there and is not going to be too bulky when placed on a wall. So we're going to add this last pair, again, cutting off those corners and hot gluing and holding as needed. Now I do want to add some pop of flowers or color. So I want to flip it over and we're going to add pink and yellow flowers from Dollar Tree. We're going to alternate the colors from each flip-flop. I'm going to poke a hole in the center right next to where that thong is. And we're just going to literally add glue and add the flower. Then we're going to go from pink to yellow, pink, yellow, and do that all the way around. So we're going to add this final one. And let me remind you, you can use any florals. You can add greenery. You can add whatever you want. I'm going to add rope to the back of this one so that we can hang it. I'm just going to loop it, add hot glue on both ends, and then I'm going to tape it. This is just going to add a bit more stability as well as prevent any fraying. And I got to tell you, this is close to my favorite one. I absolutely love the way this turned out. If you want to place it outdoors, make sure it's away from the elements and make sure that you seal that paper. But let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, I'm going to start with this piece of wood that I found at the scrap wood section at the hardware store. It already had this black tone in the back. Not sure why. I'm going to give it a pretty heavy coat of paint. This is actually outdoor paint that we can place out in the porch. With my Cricut, I created a stencil that I am going to use to create the word or the phrase, "Hello Summer." We're going to make a beautiful, very vibrant vertical sign for my porch. The way this works is just like a stencil, except it's sticky and you can only use it once. So I'm just going to place it right on the top and remove the transfer tape. Then I'm just going to use several different colors, and these are colors that complement the flip-flops that we're going to be using for this one. It's a beautiful teal color. It's Highland Blue by Rust-Oleum Milk Paint. This is a yellow by Rust-Oleum Milk Paint. It's actually Venetian yellow, and then an orange. I'm going to use my flip-flops, just place them right there just to make sure that I know exactly where to place my M's and then the E and the R. And I'll repeat the process all the way down. I realized that I made the stencils way too small and thin on the edges, so I'm just going to place some masking tape to give me a little wiggle room. I'm going to use the same colors, alternating them all down the word summer. The flip-flops that we're going to be using today are the youth size. These are the little kid size, and I thought it was just so adorable to replace the letter U with them. So I'm just going to remove the tag, and of course, we're just going to hot glue them. They're very lightweight, and they stuck really well. You can also brad nail them, or just nail them, or even staple them if you want to. Again, I'm just going to place it. And then to finish everything off, I do want to seal everything because I want to make sure that it's going to be ready for the elements out in my porch. So I'm just going to spray it a couple of times, let it dry, and that's it for this one. Such a beautiful sign. I love the vibrant colors. I love those cute little flip-flops, but I would love to know what you think. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this drop cloth. I love using drop cloth. I like the texture, how heavy duty it is, and I love that you can tear it and it has that frayed look. I'm going to use my Cricut to create a design that says, "Here comes the sun," with a bit of a sun shape on it. I'm going to use my weeding tools just to remove any excess vinyl, and then we're going to place some transfer tape or transfer vinyl right on top. I should not have done this way. I should have just done the stencil vinyl as I did in the previous project. But it is what it is. I'll show you. All right, so we're going to fold about 2.5 inches from the top, and then we're going to hot glue. And then I'm just going to iron out. I realized it was so wrinkly. I'm just going to quickly iron out some of the wrinkles. I'm going to add the design right there on the top, and this is where it gets a little difficult, so I'm going to speed it up quite fast for you. The vinyl was not sticking very well to the fabric. I thought it would, but it wasn't. I did my best, and it took me a while. So I'm just letting you know I would not do it again like this. I would just use it as a stencil like I did in the previous project and just paint it on. That's what I would do, but live and learn, right? All right, so once the design was attached, we're just going to hot glue this little these are kid size flip-flops from Dollar Tree right there to the bottom, just like that. How cute. All right, we're going to take this extra large skewer stick from Dollar Tree. We're going to cut off most of it. We're just going to leave about maybe an inch on each side after we thread it right through the loop. And then we're going to add some nautical rope, the white kind from Dollar Tree, and just knot it on each end. Cut off the excess rope, and this is how we can hang it. Now you can add whatever design, whatever color, you can add florals, whatever you want. I love this one. I love the simplicity. I love how it's so customizable. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Dollar Tree carries these wood bead rings year round, and they are perfect for crafting. We're going to start with one of them. We are going to remove, of course, the tag, and then we are going to cut off about half of it. So just use my wire cutters, and we're just going to cut it. Now have a bowl nearby because some of the beads will come off, and that's okay. Just put them in a bowl until you need them. I'm going to open up the part where they meet, and then we are just going to use half of them for right now. We're going to then just kind of curl it into a circle. So we're creating a smaller wood ring, just like it was originally, but smaller. We're going to curl the one end, and we're going to join them together like they were originally. Now I'm going to try to shape it as best as I can into a nice, beautiful circle, and then we are going to start adding some embellishments. So we're going to take this white and red striped ribbon. I got this, I want to say it was Hobby Lobby. I'm going to make a very simple bow, just going to loop it into an awareness ribbon style, scrunch it in the middle, adjust as needed. I'm going to tie it in the center with some white jute string, and then we are going to cut the ends with a dovetail design. Now you can do whatever you want. I cut them very small because I do want to be able to see the wood ring nicely. I'm going to take another piece of the ribbon. We're just going to cut it and then fold it in half, and then we're going to tie it around the top right there where everything meets, and we're just going to tie it in a very simple knot. Then we're going to take the bow, and we're just going to tie it around that center portion with the remaining jute string, and then tie it in the back with a simple knot once again. Of course, you want to adjust as needed, fluff as needed as well. All right, so this is going to be a little bit more of the patriotic theme with the red, white, and blue. I'm going to take these little picks from Dollar Tree. These are the blue kind, and I'm just going to hot glue one of them right there. I'm going to add some greenery picks to each side of the bow, just hot gluing it underneath the loops. Now, you can do any style. Of course, you don't have to do these color scheme, but you can do beige, you can do whites, you can do springy, colorful, pinks, whatever you want. I decided to do the red, white, and blue because Memorial Day is around the corner. I knotted the two ends, cut off the X's, and I think it's adorable. You can hang this anywhere in your home as an added touch of a festive decor. Let me know what you think of this one. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with these horizontal sign. You can find these at Dollar Tree pretty much year round. We're going to remove the plastic, of course, and then we're going to sand down the surface. This is just to remove a lot of that sheen, a lot of that paper, and we're just going to roughen up that surface. Then we're going to wipe it really well. We don't want any dust because we are going to be painting it. Now you can paint it any color you want. I chose white by Waverly, and I'm going to do one coat, that's it, on the front and the sides, but I did not do the back on this one, although you can if you'd like. While that is drying, we're going to use the remaining half beads from the previous project, and then we are going to cut off a little bit more than half for the other one. So maybe about, I don't know, I would say about maybe 2/3. And then we're going to stack them up. I want each to be larger than the other. So the first one had 15 beads. The other one had 25 beads. And the other one had about 33 beads because I couldn't fit 2 more. But it worked out. Once I have it in place, I am going to curl the ends. That way they're not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to do the same thing on all 3 pieces. The wood piece dried fairly quickly, so I was able to start measuring and dry fitting things so that we can mark. Now I'm going to put the large one on first, and I'm going to mark with a pencil, and then I'm going to place the other one and then mark with a pencil, and the same thing with the little one. I'm going to use some screws to be able to screw underneath that wood piece. These are very small. However, this is not real wood, so it did crack on me. I was so disappointed. There's the crack. Now, I thought about drilling holes and I thought, oh, it'll be okay. I learned my lesson. So now I'm going to pre-drill a few holes. It's still cracked on me. You're going to see it on the other side as well. But if you pre-drill, the crack will be less. Now, this is a very light piece. Those wood beads are not heavy. It'll work out anyways. But if you have a real piece of wood, I would suggest going that route. But nonetheless, I wanted to show you all the process. All right, so now that we have 3 screws on each side, we are going to then start attaching each wood piece. Now, we are going to use some flexible wire, and I'm just going to wrap it around each screw a few times just to tighten it. Then I'm going to thread it through one end of the wood piece, and then we're going to continue threading it around the screw. Okay, I'm going to do it again so you kind of follow along. So we're going to cut off a piece of the flexible wire. We're going to roll it around, tighten it around the screw a few times, thread it through the wood piece end, and then continue to thread it around or wrap it around the screw, just like that. We're going to do the same for both pieces. We are officially done attaching these, and I think they turned out so adorable. Oh my gosh. All right, so now we're going to add some greenery to the front of the wood piece, but you can add whatever you want. You can add a decal if you'd like. I'm going to add these 2 magnolia leaves that I had left over from another project, and then some of these, I think these are eucalyptus picks from Walmart. I'm going to staple those, and then I'm going to add this beautiful blue flower from Walmart. Walmart has great florals, by the way, if you want to check them out. I'm going to hot glue it right there in the center. Now, add these before you add the florals. I didn't do that, obviously. So I am going to attach them now, hopefully, and hoping that it wouldn't ruin the flowers, and it didn't. It is nicely and beautifully done. I love the way this one turned out. Such a unique piece, and you can customize it to whatever holiday or color scheme you want. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take another one of those rings and we're going to cut off about 1/3 of it. We are going to also open up the other side and then put that to the side. We're going to use it here in just a little bit. All right, so now that we have 2/3 of it, we are going to join them together once again, like we did earlier in the first project. This one is a little larger. We're going to tighten it and we're going to shape it into the best circle that we can. Now we're going to bring some of this faux leather from Dollar Tree. This is leftover pieces I had. And I'm just going to cut off a piece that's 12 inches long by about 1.5 inch thick. Then we're going to wrap it around right there where everything joins, and we're going to hot glue the 2 pieces together. We're first going to do it right there close to the wood beads, and then we're going to join everything else along all the way to the top. Although this next part is completely optional, I decided to add some greenery. I'm going to join them together in the center, creating a little swag. This is some jute string. We're just going to wrap it around a few times, hot glue it in place, and then hot glue it to the top of the piece. Again, this is completely optional. You can also do it in a theme, whether it's a holiday theme or color scheme. I decided to keep this one pretty neutral. I'm going to hot glue it right there to the top. And then we're going to bring in this plastic ring. This is just one I had left over from a curtain rod piece. I don't know what it was, but I kept it. I'm going to hot glue it to the top, looping it through. And then we are going to have a beautiful towel hanging hook. How gorgeous is this? Love the way this turned out. Love you seeing these beads. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the leftover pieces from the previous project and we are going to leave 7 beads, okay? We are going to take them all apart and we're going to keep this piece, the wire, because we're going to use that. I'm going to take skewer sticks and we're going to put them in a foam from Dollar Tree and we're going to thread 3 of them on one of them and then 2 of them on the other. This is going to be one of those where it's also patriotic, but again, you can customize to your own flag if you're from a different country or whatever color scheme you want. I'm going to paint this set of 3 beads in a beautiful blue. This is Ocean Blue by Waverly. And then I'm going to paint the other 2 red, and this is Farmhouse Red by Rust-Oleum Chalk to paint. We're going to put those to the side and let them dry. Once dry, we are going to make little white dots on the blue beads. This is just going to mimic little stars like it is on our flag. And we're just going to do on all 3 of them. And then once we have them, we're going to place them right back on that foam and put them to the side while they dry. Now, while that's drying, we're going to start putting everything together. We're going to take the wire and we're just going to tighten that one end. And then we're going to flatten and straighten as best as we can the rest of the wire. We're going to thread a white one first, a red one, then a white one, and then a red one. And then once the blue beads were dry, we're going to then thread the blue ones right there on top. Cut off any excess, leaving about I would say about 3/4 of an inch, and then curling it on top. We're going to use one of these binder rings, but if you have a keychain ring, that works even better. I'm going to thread it through the top, tighten it as needed, and this will be a gorgeous little gift for 4th of July or Memorial Day. And if you do any other color scheme, any time of the year would make a great gift. Love the way this one turned out, but I'd love to know what you think. We're going to start with this one. It has such a summer vibe. Wanted to use it. I'm also going to use this $3 board from Dollar Tree Plus. I love having these in my crafting stashes because they're great for crafts. I'm going to use a technique that so many of you have recommended when Mod Podging, and that's the ironing technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a pretty good layer of Mod Podge on all 3 planks, and then we're going to put that to the side and let it completely dry. Again, I have never used this technique, so we'll see how it goes. Once it's fully dry, we're going to place the design where I want it, and then we're going to place parchment tape paper right on top. Then we're going to use an iron. Now I have this little mini iron from Cricut. I'm just going to use this one, but you can also use an iron if you want. I'm going to speed it up quite a bit because I did move quite slow. I want to make sure that that glue really melts underneath the design. And then once you are done, it's supposed to attach. I didn't know what to expect, but I got to tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. The design fully stayed. I even tested with a little shake and wiggle. It worked, my friends. All right, we're going to use my sanding block and we are going to remove the excess paper from the sides. I'm going to do a downward motion. This is going to remove the excess paper as well as distress those corners and edges. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to remove the paper in between the planks, and then I'm going to use a nail filer to give it that distressed look that I really like and really goes with the whole design. During the summer months, Dollar Tree carries these starfishes and they come 3 in a pack, and I love using them for crafts. I'm going to use just one of them and I'm just going to hot glue it to the upper right hand corner. Now you can totally leave this as is and it looks very pretty, but I wanted to add these picks. These are very coastal summer picks that you can find at Dollar Tree for $1.25. I'm going to pull it apart just in different picks and the size that really matches the design. And then we're just going to start placing them kind of underneath these starfish with a little bit of hot glue, and just going to keep adding and cutting the picks as needed. You can add whatever else you want. You can add seashells to it, whatever you want. I did want it to keep it a little bit on the simple side. I gotta tell you, love this design. I love the natural worn design that it has, and how fun to use a calendar page. Let me know what you think of this one. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this beautiful calendar and we are going to use this patriotic 4th of July or Memorial Day design. I love that they have these flat canvases. This is one of their larger ones. These are great for larger projects and it fits perfect with this design. I'm going to lightly sand down the edges just to give it a little bit more of a worn look. Now the page actually fits 2 sides on the canvas. This is me just adding a little bit of distress on the design. For this project, I am going to do the old-fashioned Mod Podging. We're just going to add a layer of Mod Podge and place the design. I thought, let's give it a try. Let me tell you, friends, it wrinkled up. I'm not going to lie. Now, what made it work is that the design itself is very farmhouse, very distressed look. So it was actually okay. But otherwise, I definitely recommend the ironing. technique. All right, I'm going to tape the top portion. I want to make some red stripes. This is just to fill in that top portion that is bare. We're going to add some florals anyway, so you can always leave as is. I just thought adding these stripes would really bring everything together. I'm going to give it what would look like a sloppy coat, which it is, but basically I just wanted to have a distressed look and kind of match the overall look. We're going to remove the tape and reveal the stripes, and we're just going to put that to the side fairly quickly. It dried. It is chalk paint. This is Farmhouse Red by Rust-Oleum. All right, we're going to take a piece of foam. Once everything is dry, we're just going to add it right there in the center so that we can add some greenery picks. Although you can leave the design as is, add a hanging rope in the back, and you are all done. But I love my greenery, so you can always skip this part, but I am going to add some of these greenery picks. These I get on Amazon. I'm just going to add some towards the right, the left, and then we're going to add a beautiful blue flower. This is from Walmart. Walmart has great floral selections, and I just thought that blue really complements the design. I'm going to add additional picks here and there just to kind of fill in some of those empty spaces. And then I decided to add a white flower. You absolutely do not have to add the white flower. I just thought it really complements the whole design. Now we are going to add a hanging rope to the back. We're going to hot glue it in place. We're also going to tape it so that it does not fray on us. And that's it for this one. This is such a fun project to do. What a fun design this is. Love the way it turned out. The size is amazing. Perfect for the holidays. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take a beautiful bee style design that this calendar has. Love this design. I've been such in a mood for bee decor. Love it. We're going to do a lot of cutting here, so take your time if you're going to recreate this one. I'm going to cut off the beehive, both bees, as well as the be kind phrase. Now, just add music, watch a movie. It did take some time, but slowly but surely we were able to get everything cut. For the be kind, I did have to use a combination of scissors as well as my X-Acto knife to really get inside each letter. Again, take your time. It does take some time, but it is so worth it. If you have a cutting machine, however, you can certainly do your own design and use that. But for those that do not, this is a great alternative. Dollar Tree carries these planked boards year-round, and some come in a round shape, some square, and different colors. I'm going to use this one. I love the colors that it already has. I think it complements the design really well, but I am going to paint the beads. So I'm just going to tape the bottom, and I'm going to use this beautiful milk paint. It's Venetian Yellow by Rust-Oleum Milk Paint. Love the color, and I'm just going to paint each bead slowly but surely, and then of course let them dry. I think this really adds a pop of color, and it kind of brings everything together as a design. Now it's time to start placing each piece. Now this is a little larger, so I just thought, why not make it look like it's overflowing on the edge? Love that I chose to do that. I'm just going to take my time folding and placing as needed, and then we're going to add Mod Podge and start placing it. I'm not going to do the iron technique on this one. These pieces are small enough, and it actually turned out really well without ironing it. So I'm just going to take my time, keep adding Mod Podge. I added the beehive first, then I'm going to add both bees, and then I'm going to add the be kind phrase one by one, adding Mod Podge as needed. I'm going to let everything dry, and once it was dry, I'm going to add one final layer of Mod Podge over everything, and then I'm going to set it to the side and let it dry. Once dry, I'm going to take a permanent marker, and we're just going to finish those beautiful little lines. I think it complements and it adds a nice touch. And then on the black surface, I'm going to use a white permanent marker and add the lines all to the bee. You can leave this as is, okay? But I am going to add a flower because it feels like the bees need to be flying somewhere. So I'm just going to add the leafy parts, then the yellow flower on top, and some of the greenery picks on each side. And they just looks like the bees are just flying towards this cute little flower. This has to be my favorite. I love the way this one turned out. How cute is this? How fun and how easy. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take another design. This one has more of a rounded shape. Therefore, we're going to use this Seize the Days summer sign from Dollar Tree. It has a lot of texture with the glitter. So I'm going to sand it down with my electric sander, but you can use a sanding block if you'd like. We're going to dust it really well, and then we're going to give everything one coat of Waverly Chalk Pen in the ink tone, which is a really dark black. The design of the calendar is very light in the front, and I have seen in the past that whenever you attach it to a surface, you can see the calendar lines from the back. But if you paint it in a dark tone, you won't see it. So once the paint was dry, I'm going to add one layer of Mod Podge, and we're going to place it to the side to dry. And when I say I place it to the side, I literally place it on the floor in front of a fan, and it speeds up the project immensely. Once dry, we're going to use the iron technique because, yeah, it works. Then we're going to place the parchment paper, and then we're going to iron it. And once again, we're going to speed it up a little bit here for you. But I did go kind of slow and just taking my time, trying not to get on the black portion because it will melt that glue. And so I just kept ironing back and forth until everything was attached. And then, just like we did earlier, we're going to sand down those edges once everything was attached. This is just really smooths it out and really removes it nicely. I'm going to paint the excess little black parts in a white. This is Waverly Chalk Pen in the white. And I did a couple of coats, maybe 2.5 coats as needed. I didn't have to do the top portion, although I did because we are going to add greenery and flowers. But I did just to make sure everything is cohesive and it just flows well. So I did say we're going to add greenery. Now I'm going to take some of these eucalyptus picks and we're just going to start cutting a few. And we're going to make a little swag. And the way I make them, I just place several picks facing each way. I'm going to take some white nautical rope from Dollar Tree, roll around in the center, secure it in place with hot glue, and then we are going to hot glue it towards the top of the design, giving it a little bit of a curve kind of design so it drapes down in the shape of the round circle. This beautiful flower is also from Walmart. It's a gorgeous pick. It did have these green leaves. So I'm just going to add those right around the flower. I think it adds a pop of color and just dimension to the whole design. Once I added the leaves, then it's time to add another hanging piece. This one I'm just going to use nautical rope from Dollar Tree, hot glue, and tape. And I think this one is absolutely gorgeous. Oh my word. The colors, the design. Can you believe we used a calendar page? How stunning is this? Let me know what you think of this one. We're going to start with this one. Love this one. It actually flickers like if it was a lantern. It's gorgeous. We're going to remove the bottom portion because we're not going to need it. We're also going to use this wooden board from the Dollar Tree Plus. It was $5 and had a great shape and it's solid wood. Love it. I'm going to dry fit the lantern where I want it, and then we're going to measure just to kind of see how much space I have. I am going to stain it using the Antiquing Wax by Waverly. I am going to use just a little rag and just spread it around until the entire board is covered, removing any excess as needed. While that dries, I did use my Cricut design space and designed a scripture words that I can place on that right side of the board. I am going to weed off the actual design because we're going to use it as a stencil rather than a decal. So I'm just going to remove the design and then we're going to place some transfer tape over it. The transfer tape is going to help us attach it to the surface. So we're going to place it right on top and then we're going to remove the backing from it. This part is always a little hard, especially with this smart vinyl because it is really thick paper. But nonetheless, we did remove the backing and then we are able to place it on the board. I'm going to place it right on that side where I measured earlier, and I'm just going to flatten it out as much as able, remove the transfer tape, and then we are going to stencil it. Again, you can always use it as a decal, but I'd rather use the stencil for this one. I'm going to use my favorite stenciling brush that I do get on Amazon, and I do have on my Amazon store if you want to check it out. It is linked down in the description box. I'm going to use Waverly Chalk Pen in the ink, and I'm just going to do the round and about motion stenciling. This is a great technique. I'm not even doing any force or any pressure on the brush. I'm just letting it do its thing. Once it was done stenciling, I'm going to remove the excess vinyl, remove all the little tiny pieces, and then we have a beautiful design. I love this scripture and I just love the way this turned out. All right, so now we are going to seal everything. We're just going to take it outside. We're going to spray it once, just a pretty heavy coat of this top coat. It has a glossy finish and I really like the way it turned out. So once it was dry, it has this beautiful sheen, very pretty. All right, now let's attach the lantern. I'm going to call it a lantern, but you know what I mean, the solar light. I'm going to mark where I need to drill a couple of holes, and I am going to then use some zip tie from Dollar Tree. Now, at first I thought I just needed to use that bottom portion, and you're going to see that I had to actually remove it because it was wobbling on me. And I'm going to show you the entire process so that way you learn from my mistakes. So once I had it attached, I am going to then flip it over, and this is when I realized it was just a little too wobbly. So I'm going to remove that zip tie, and then we're going to drill a couple of extra holes on the top. I'm going to mark once again where I need to drill them. Drill them with my drill. This is a Ryobi drill. And then we are going to use another zip tie, and we're going to start by zip tying the top portion first, securing in the back, and then attaching the bottom. I did cut off the excess from the back, of course, and now it's nicely attached. All right, so now we're going to make a little swag. We're just going to use some greenery from Walmart, and I'm just going to make it with just some trick in the center. No big deal. We're going to hot glue it in place, and then we are going to hot glue it to the bottom of the lantern right there. And I think this turned out absolutely gorgeous. I love the message. I love how it lights up like a lantern. Wait until you see it in the dark. But let me know what you think of this one. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this garden dish. It is clear. We are going to remove the paper and the stickers from the inside as well as the back. And then we're going to wipe it well because we do not want any dust or any smudges. This is the vase that we're going to use with it. I just thrifted this a while back. And again, we're just going to dust it and clean it well. I'm going to spray the vase white with this spray paint from Rust-Oleum. And I'm going to spray the dish red with this spray paint from Rust-Oleum. I took it outside and I'm going to spray paint them, give them a couple of light coats, and of course letting them dry. I did, however, realize that I missed a step. So after it was all dry, the red dish, I had to go back inside and do it all over again because we missed a step. So let me show you. This is the solar light we're going to use. I'm going to use a piece of vinyl from Dollar Tree, and this is just one leftover from Christmas. I'm going to trace it and I'm going to cut it. And then we are going to peel it like a sticker and place it right there. We need that opening because we're creating a mushroom from our garden or for indoors. And once it's sprayed, painted, then this is what it looked like. So don't do as I did. Just do as I say. Just make sure you add that vinyl there before you spray paint it. All right, live and learn. So I'm going to make some circles to make it look like a cute little mushroom. And I'm going to use Waverly chalk paint in the white. I did do 2 coats to each circle. And then once dry, we are going to remove the vinyl, and this is what we have. We want that to be clear because we want the solar light to be able to recharge. I'm going to take it outside like I did earlier, and I'm just going to spray paint it with that top coat. Going to make it nice and shiny and glossy, and just make sure everything is nicely sealed. This is how everything is looking, and now we're going to put everything together. The solar light, we just want to remove that little paper, and then we are going to remove the stake because we are not going to need that part. All right, so now we are going to place some stones inside the vase. That way it's going to be nicely weighted and it's not going to tilt on us. And then we are going to hot glue the solar light right on top. Just work a little quick because it does dry quickly. So there you go. And then we're going to do a combination of E6000 as well as hot glue to attach the top portion. Just make sure that you don't mix the two. Just kind of keep them a little separated as possible. And we're going to place it right there. We're going to hold it until it hardens. And I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous. I've seen several of these being made online as well as on Pinterest. Love the way this one turned out. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this gorgeous solar light. We remove the bottom portion of it. We're going to temporarily remove the top so that we can remove the little tag, and that way it lights up. And then we're going to put it right back in. We're going to bring in one of these round foams from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to place it right in the center. We're going to push it in, and then we are going to remove it temporarily because we want to add hot glue. And then, of course, the hot glue is just going to make it nice and permanent. And you just want to hold it until it hardens. Now, you can use any other surface you want underneath this one, but I thought the foam was sufficient. I'm going to cover that rim, that side portion, with ribbon from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to hot glue it in place. And then I'm going to layer some jute string on top of the ribbon. So this is what it's looking like, and I'm loving it. All right, now we're going to cover the foam using Spanish moss. You can find these at Dollar Tree, but I haven't found it at my local one, so I just ordered mine on Amazon. I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue and then just kind of taking my time covering the surface. And then, of course, it's going to make a mess, but it's okay. Once I had everything covered, I am going to trim off just those edges. They're just a little too much for me. So we're going to give it a haircut. And once it's trimmed, then we're going to add some greenery. This greenery is from Walmart, and I just love Walmart's greenery picks. I feel like it's just a good bang for your buck and a very good quality. So if you're ever in their Walmart floral section, just grab a few. All right, so I'm just going to keep adding some of these greenery, just taking whatever I have on hand and then adding hot glue as needed. I am also going to use these pink flowers, and then we're just going to kind of tilt them to the sides because I do want to be able to see the solar light and the beautiful glow. So I'm just going to add this last one right here, and again, tilted towards the side. I'm going to keep it on the simple side, but look how gorgeous this is. This would be great as a centerpiece for a baby shower, a wedding shower, you name it. Love, love, love this one. But let me know what you think down in the comments. This beautiful Live, Love, Laugh decal has such bright colors. It is screaming summer. But a lot of times we don't want to put these on the walls. We just want to make something with it, display it, and then maybe change it for the next season. So I'm going to show you. We're going to just peel it just like a sticker and place it on a piece of cardboard. This is just out of a box from a shipping that we received. We're going to remove the other one, and we're going to align it as best as we can so that you don't see that seam at all. We're just going to flatten it out and make sure that it is nicely stuck to the cardboard. Of course, we are going to cut off the excess cardboard, and I'm going to use my favorite blade knife. I got this one on Amazon, and I do have it on my Amazon store. Oh my word, it is the best. I actually changed the blade because it just needed to be changed, and it cuts like butter. Anyways, it is linked down below in the description box if you want to check it out. Okay, so I'm just going to speed it up here for you, but we are just going to remove all the excess cardboard, and it wasn't hard. Again, I just recommend you have a nice sharp blade knife, and of course, be very careful when you are cutting. Once I was done cutting off all of the excess, I'm going to sand down the edges with my sanding block. You don't have to do this. I prefer to do it because it really creates a nice smooth edge flush to the actual cardboard, and it gives it a little bit of dimension because it kind of distresses those edges. All right, I dusted it really well, and I'm just going to make it a little bit 3D. Now, you can leave it like this. You don't have to add these florals. I'm just going to add different color florals from Dollar Tree that complements the entire design. This is going to make it pop, make it very 3D, and you can add as little or as much as you want. Or again, just leave it as is. I added some leafy greens to the bottom, not all the way because we don't want to cover up the words. This is looking so magical. I love the tropical feel of it. We're going to cut off another piece of cardboard. This is so that we can create a piece that we can put on the back and be able to stand the decor. So I folded it into threes, and I'm just going to hot glue it in place, and I added an extra little piece for reinforcement at the top, just like this. Isn't this gorgeous? Now you can display this beautiful wall decal, but you don't have to place it on your wall. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this wooden family word. You can find these at Dollar Tree, I think, year round. I'm going to paint it using this beautiful green tone by Waverly. It's their celery, and I'm only going to do the front. I'm not even going to try to paint on the edges and on the inside. You know, those little, yeah, it doesn't work very well. So I'm just going to do the front very carefully that it does not drip on the sides. I did 2 coats and let it dry. It looks gorgeous. So we are going to add decals. Now this decals I used in a different project and I had leftover, so we're going to use it for this one. I'm just going to remove it again very carefully because they can rip. They are made out of paper. And we're just going to place the first one towards the bottom right corner. Once it's attached very nicely, I'm going to flip it over and then using my X-Acto knife, again, the sharper the blade, the better. And of course, be very careful. We're just going to cut off the excess as close to the edge as possible, but don't stress about it because we are going to file those using my nail filer. I'm going to cut off the inside as well, just so that, again, we have the shape of each letter. I'm going to add the excess one from that decal and add it towards the middle upper portion and do the same thing. Remove the excess, and then we're going to do a final one on the other side. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to file down those edges with my nail filer. Again, you can use your sanding block, but the nail filer really gets through those little corners that are tight. So I'm just going to do it in a downward motion once again, just to smooth the edges out, give it a little bit of a distress, and it looks so beautiful. I'm going to dust it really well, and now we're going to antique those edges. You can leave it as is, though. You don't have to do this part. You can skip it. I am going to use a sponge brush in my antiquing wax by Waverly, and we're just going to do the edges. Just very, very little antiquing wax. I'm going to use a rag to remove the excess from the brush, as well as the excess on the piece. This is just going to mute it and really remove anything that just doesn't need to be there. And I'm going to do the entire word. Dollar Tree sticker aisle is perfect to find crafting items, and I love using these stickers. Now this one that we're going to use is gorgeous. It has more like a pearl tone. I don't know how to describe it, but they do stick and it goes perfect with the design. So I'm just going to add 4 of them just here and there in the different tones, just to add texture, a pop of shiny color. And I honestly think that these little stickers brought everything together. I think it's gorgeous. What a beautiful way to use these decals. Love the way this family wooden word looks. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, you can find these wood blanks at Dollar Tree year-round in different shapes. This one is a heart-shaped, and I loved it. I got it for Valentine's Day, and I had it left over, and I said, let's do something fun and girly for my daughter. I'm going to use Waverly chalk paint in the wine. We're going to dry brush it. I still want to see a lot of that wooden tones, but I just want to lighten it up just a little bit. Dry brushing simply means you add a little bit of paint on your brush and then you just brush very lightly. Just dry it. It's like literally dry brushing, and it dries really quick. I'm going to take off any excess paint that dripped on the edges, and then I'm going to lightly sand the surface just to smooth things out and of course remove all dust. I am going to paint the beads in this beautiful blush pink by Rust-Oleum chalk paint, but I'm going to do every other bead just to add a touch of color because it will match and actually will bring everything together once you see the decal that we are going to use. Now this decal, of course, is one that you can place on your wall. It has a cute little bear, but I want to use these hearts. I love the tones that it has, and I'm going to place them from the bottom to the top, working my way up on that right side. I'm going to start with the larger hearts and then keep going to the smaller ones. Once the hearts were attached, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and cut off that little area there where it's planked. I do want to keep that planked look. So I'm just going to cut on both sides and then just peel it off. This is just going to clean it off and really just make it look nice and professional. Very, very pretty. Although it's not really needed, I did sand down just a little bit those little edges in there in the planked area because I just felt like it needed it. I'm going to add some leafy greens. These are just ones from a pick that I have from Walmart. I'm going to glue 2 of them to the left upper side and add this beautiful pink flower right there in the center. It brings everything together. Love how feminine this is, how beautiful and gentle it is. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this poster board pack and use one of them. They come 6 in the pack, and I love that they come already cut for me. I'm going to fold one of them in half, and then we're going to cut off a little bit from the outside, just about 1.5 inches, and then about 4.5 inches from the top. We're creating a fun greeting card. I love creating these with decals because it is just fun to make greeting cards for your loved ones. This Laugh Everyday decal, it was part of a larger one, as you can tell, but I had it left over. I'm just going to cut off the part that says everyday, and I just love how it just sticks so perfectly and it's clear. Love it. Now this love decal has rainbows and beautiful colors. I'm just going to use the love portion and place it right above the everyday. How cute is that? Now we're going to cut off the edges, just kind of round them off to make it a little bit more custom, but you can skip this part if you want. Now I'm going to open up the card and we are going to place one of the rainbows. The colors are just so pretty. I'm going to peel it off and place it centered right there on the inside towards the bottom. Still gives you room to write a nice cute message. I'm going to then fold it and just kind of use my fingers to just make sure that decal is bending and folding where it needs to. I'm going to open it up one more time and I'm going to add one scripture. I love the scripture. It says, do everything in love. And you can find it on 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 14. Love that it goes with the whole theme. And there's still room to write a personalized message on the other side. Love the way this one turned out. I love giving greeting cards. I love creating them. There's such a personal touch to them. This one would be perfect for any loved one or friend. What do you think of this one? Let me know down in the comments. Of these ping pong balls from Dollar Tree. I'm going to melt a hole on the bottom of one. I'm going to put in this skewer stick right through it. Then I'm going to poke another hole directly on the opposite side of the ball. And this is just going to create a place where I can thread the skewer stick right through. And because we are going to paint them, it's going to make it so much easier. I did the same thing with the other 2 balls, and then we're going to start painting them in 3 colors. This is going to be a nice summer theme. It's going to be quite fun. We're going to use the first red, and we're going to start doing what will look like little beach balls. I thought these were adorable. I am going to start painting the red stripe. I'm going to do the very best I can. It's not perfect, friends. I am never looking for perfection. I say that all the time. It does look like it's hand painted, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to start with the red one and move on to the yellow, and then move on to the blue. I'm going to place them on this foam just so that they are not touching any surface, and we are going to let them dry. We're going to take one of the smaller mason jars from Dollar Tree, remove the lid, we are not going to need that, and remove the sticker from the bottom. We're going to also wipe it well to remove smudges and dust. We're going to take some white sand from Dollar Tree. We're going to fill in the jar about maybe 2/3 high, give or take. Dollar Tree sticker aisle, it is awesome. I love all the selection that they have. And these summer ones are beautiful. I'm going to use the one that says summer, and it already has the little sticky pads, but they weren't sticking because it is a rounded shape. So I did have to reinforce with hot glue, and that also came off. So I ended up having to use some alien tape, and I'll show you what alien tape is here in just a minute. I'm going to take the little beach balls. They are nicely dry, and we're just going to drop them right in. They're going to be right there ready to be played with in the sand. How cute. We're going to use some of these faux boxwood that I do get on Amazon, and I love the way this jar turned out. What an easy project. So easy, a little bit of painting on the balls, but I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with a larger mason jar. Once again, remove the lid. Remove the sticker from the bottom and wipe it really well to remove dust and smudges. We're going to take it outside. We are going to frost it. We're going to use this frosted glass style spray by Rust-Oleum. I'm going to do one coat, but you can do as many as you want depending on the look you are going for. While it's drying, I am going to go to my Cricut Joy Extra. We're just going to cut off a couple of, actually 3 decals in the shape of fairies. These were in the design space by Cricut. And now that the jar is nicely dry, we're just going to attach them. Now, you can do 4 if you want, 1 for each side of the mason jar. I'm not going to do the one where I have all the measurements because it's just not going to stick well. So we're going to do 3 little fairies. I measured them and making sure that they are going to fit in each side nicely. And with some transfer tape, we are just going to attach them. So easy. Now, if you do not have a Cricut machine, that's okay. Use the carbon paper technique that I have showed many times before. You can do that, or you can also use any other type of stickers you'd like. We are going to place the last little fairy right there on the side. And look how adorable this is already looking. Now, we are going to add some fairy lights because they're fairy lights. Anyways, I get these on Amazon. You've seen me use these before. They are my favorite. I do have them in my Amazon store. If you want to check them out, it is linked down below. I'm going to thread them right inside the jar right there. Now, you can stop right here. You can drop the little battery pack, add the lid back on, and call it a day. But I'm going to take it a little further. We're going to use some of this alien tape. Now, this is the alien tape I was telling you. I get it on Amazon, and it is in my Amazon store as well. It sticks really well to glass. So we're going to attach the battery using that. This solar light was left over from a video that I did recently. I removed the stake portion, and we're just going to hot glue it to the top. This is going to add a little bit more ambience during the nighttime, and it's also going to just cover up that top portion. I'm going to use this burlap ribbon. It has a frayed edges, and I love it. I folded it in half, and I'm just going to attach it, wrapping it around the thread of the jar. And I got to say, the simplicity and the beautiful magical touch this jar has is so fun. What do you think of this one? For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with 3 mason jars. These are on the larger side. We're going to remove the lid, remove the stickers, and wipe them really well. At first, I thought I was going to use 3. I ended up changing my mind, but I'll show you what I did with the third one. All right, we're going to take them outside. We're going to spray them white. This is a semi-gloss white spray paint by Rust-Oleum. And we're just going to quickly spray them. I'm not looking for full coverage because we are going to give these a distressed farmhouse look. But if you do not like that style, by all means, just make sure you paint everything with a nice full coverage. While the white one's dry, we're going to take the third jar. We're just going to paint it blue. This is a beautiful ocean blue by Waverly Chalk Pen. We're going to do a couple of coats, and we're going to let that dry. Dollar Tree has an entire selection of vinyl, and we're going to take a piece of one of their white ones. We're going to cut it off just enough to give me enough room. We're going to use this star-shaped hole puncher. It comes in a set of 6. I get this on Amazon, and I do have them in my Amazon store as well. I'm going to remove the little cap from the bottom just so that I don't have to keep removing it to empty it out. And we're just going to start cutting off some stars. Now, this is going to be in the American style, more patriotic style, but you can use any style you want. You can get the idea, maybe use your own flag, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to keep punching the stars, and then we are going to put them to the side just briefly because we are going to work on the white jar. Again, we went from 2 to 1 because I just decided to change my mind. I don't know. We're going to use some masking tape from Dollar Tree. We're going to create some stripes to mimic the American flag. So I'm just going to add them to just, I don't know, leaving about the same amount size in between each. And then we're going to take Rust-Oleum chalked pen in the farmhouse red, and we're going to paint some stripes. Again, we're going to do, it's going to look like sloppy, but it's because I want a distressed look. So I'm doing a little bit more of a dry brush, but a little bit heavier. So we're going to do the in between the stripes as well as the bottom and the top. Removing the tape is always so fun, and I love to do it when the paint is still wet. Don't know why, I just don't want it to peel on me. So we're going to do that and then put that to the side. We're going to go back to the blue one. It's nice and dry. We are going to distress it using the wet distress technique. You just basically add a little bit of water onto a towel or a rag and then just remove some of the paint. Again, if this is not your style, I understand. It's okay. Just leave it full coverage. We're going to start adding all the stars, just alternating them here and there until the entire jar is covered. I'm not going to do the thread because we are doing something different for that. So once it's completely covered, we are going to cover the top portion with some jute string. You can use whatever ribbon you want, or you can leave it as is. It's up to you. I'm going to wrap it around several times, and then we are going to attach it with glue, and then we're going to make a very simple bow using my fingers and more jute string. We're going to wrap it around my fingers a few times, and then we are going to fluff it up a little bit and glue it to the front of the jar. Now that the red and white jar is dry, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to wrap around some jute string to the top, make a very simple bow around my fingers, tie it in the center with jute string. Then we are going to hot glue it to the front, cut off any excess jute string, and then that's it, my friends. How adorable is this? Again, it could be done with any style you want. I love the simplicity. You can use these for flower arrangement or even to put some plastic utensils. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take the leftover white jar and we are going to have some fun. This is going to be such an easy craft anyone can do. These little rub-on transfer stickers are from Dollar Tree and we're just going to start cutting them one by one. So much easier to attach when they are separate. We're going to start attaching them in no specific pattern. I'm just going to make sure that no similar design is next to each other. That's it. Now the glass is still a little tacky to the touch, so it made the transfers attach perfectly and extremely easy. I don't recommend it. If it's tacky, just let it dry. I was a little impatient, but it did work out because it helped me attach these so easily. And again, I'm just going to do it all around the jar. How easy is this? Oh my word. Okay, so we're going to take this beautiful ribbon from, I think this is from burlapfabric.com. We're going to wrap it around the thread, adding glue here and there to secure it in place. I do want it to overlap the edge of the thread on purpose. So whatever you want to do, it's fine. We're going to cut off the excess and we're going to add some beautiful, really beautiful flowers to it, just complementing the entire design. But how easy was this craft? I love the way it turned out, so feminine. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this laminating sheet and one of the insides of the lids. We're going to trace 4 of them onto the outside of the laminating sheet. We're going to use a permanent marker because it just seemed to work best. And then once there, we are going to take some dry flowers. I got mine from a maker studio, but if you don't have them, Amazon does carry wide a selection of these, and I have these in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. Again, linked down below. We're going to open up the laminating sheet and we're just going to start placing whatever flowers I want to make sure that they are inside the circle and then they're not overlapping the circle. And that's very important. Okay, so we're just going to start adding different flowers to each one, again, staying as close to the center as possible. Once I had them where I wanted, I'm just going to close up the laminating sheet and we're going to place them inside the net laminator. I got this one on Amazon as well. Not expensive at all, and I love crafting with laminating sheets. We're going to press it through twice. Don't ask me why. I think once it's okay. I like doing twice. And making sure that those flowers are nicely set. All right, we're going to start cutting off each circle. Now, you may have to trim here and there to make sure they fit inside each lid, but it's up to you. We're going to add a little bit of hot glue. Now, be very careful. These lids got hot with the hot glue. I'm not talking about a little hot, like really hot. So be very, very careful when you are doing this. Once you add the glue, we're just going to add one of the circles inside each lid. And I love these. These are little sun catchers. They can also be ornaments. I can see something like this for Christmas. I love the idea. And to be able to hang them, we're just going to use some of this baker's twine, but you can use jute string, ribbon, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to wrap it around maybe once or twice. And then on one of the loops, we're just going to leave a little loop, just like this. We're going to hot glue on the sides, and this is just going to be able to hang it. Now, these are not heavy pieces, so a little hot glue goes a long way. And then wrap it around one more time just to secure everything in place. And I'm going to do the same thing on all 3 other lids. And we're just about done with this one, my friends. What a great way to use these lids. Gorgeous designs. I love these little dry flowers. And it doesn't have to be even flowers. You can use stickers or whatever you want. Let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. If you want to watch more, check out this next video with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.